See me get enough water, get it mixed up. I come in peace, kid. I'm bringing commentary and a new releases. I put some hours in to get prepared now. Oh, play on expert level. Don't be scared now. I'm more than I can tear down. The channel, keep your head down.
Family, thanks for joining us on The Fix tonight. You're here with me, Infinite Umbra. Before I go anywhere, let me make sure that you guys can actually hear me. Okay, it looks like you can. I can see my levels moving. Just want to get a quick thumbs up from you all in the chat before I go too far, although I don't see anybody else popping up just yet. If you guys can hear us, please let us know once you hear this. Yeah. Here with myself, Infinite Umbra, and I'm joined, of course, by my co-host, co-star, Daniel J. McGee.
What's good, everybody?
Right. What's up, Spider? Spider, if you can hear us, please let us know. Like, put a 1 or something like that, or a yes, whatever you want to put, just to make sure we're good. I got about, to the audience, I got about an hour of footage of Avowed. So we will talk on it briefly. I'll give my hour thoughts, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we will go over the review scores so far that we've seen, and the meta and the open critic, should I say, scores so far. And we're going to be covering obviously the state of play. I called it everyone's state of play because that was a third-party show for the most part. I think maybe 1 or 2 games, maybe that was exclusive to PlayStation. And
I can only think of one.
Yeah, I know it was like some VR ones too, right? It was some VR one, I think. It was that VR one with the but
the Midnight Walk.
Yeah, Midnight Walk. That's it. And what else was it? I forgot. But other than that, everything else was like coming to Xbox or in PC. So I was like, okay. And it's funny because I knew the reaction that our Hoove brothers were going to have. I thought it was a decent show, and I'll get to that later. We'll get to the score and everything, our thoughts on it, but they didn't see it as favorably. So I'll give them consistency. I'll give them that. They've been consistent on complaining about not getting first-party games, exclusive games. I will give them that. So yeah, Danny, man, let's do some housekeeping, man. What have you been up to? What have you been playing, gaming, watching, reading? What have you been up to?
Let's see. I got 2 directions I can go with this, and I don't know which one will be more fun for the audience. We can either talk about the Super Bowl, or we can talk about Montoya.
You know what? I want to talk about both because it's okay. I can't believe the damn Montoya thing caught me. I was in the Discord chat and tuned away to look at that on Twitter, and I'm like, why am I entranced and like want to know what's happening? Yeah, I'm like, I can't understand a lick of what they're saying, and I'm all like, he's Portuguese, and I'm like, okay.
But you get the emotion, you get it. So for the audience or whatever, so there's this show that's just Temptation Island, but in Spain, right? It's Isla de la Tentacion or something. Like, it's just island or Temptation Island, but in Spanish. And
okay, so that's what it means. Okay.
Yeah, and there's this clip that's gone viral now where I guess the show is like married couples and single people go to a place and then they just see if they cheat. And so there's this couple who came called Montoya and like Izzy or Isabel or something. And they had met on a previous reality show where like a year ago. So they've been dating for about a year and want to have a kid, but they were like, we should test to see if we can have, if like we're compatible enough to have a kid. We should go on Temptation Island and see if we like do the thing. So I don't know how far into the season it is, but they take Montoya, the guy, to some like production setup that's like way down the beach from where like the villa or whatever where all the people are staying is, and they show him live footage of his girlfriend banging some other dude, and it's graphic. Like you don't see anything, but you see enough to know that it's like kind of gross. They're like licking each other's lips. He's like doing bongos on her butt. Like,
man,
like there's stupid stuff going on.
And he was pumping her like a rabbit. He was going to town.
It was crazy. He was going crazy. But they at first he just like stays there. There's like a production person there who's probably the host or whatever.
Yeah.
And he just stays there watching it for a minute, and he like drops to his knees and he's being like so over the top. He like rips his shirt open and he's like, "Why are you doing this? Why?"
Yeah.
And then it's thundering in the background, right? Like there's lightning going. It's like perfectly timed lightning. They start actually like having sex, and he takes off down the beach, full sprint, full tilt. And the host is like kind of following after him. And she's like, Montoya, ¿por qué? She just like,
and she's so slow. He's
like,
already
Montoya,
he's well
Montoya,
gone
stop.
at that point. That's the funniest part. She's like, stop. And he's well like a few yards well past her. Right.
He's gone. He's gone. And shout out to the camera guy who must be just like dead sprinting down the beach with this idiot. Because he's running, his shirt's flying open. He looks like the cover of a romance novel. There's lightning in the background.
Yeah.
It's the most over the top dramatic. Like God was on the production budget without that lightning. I don't understand how it timed so perfectly, but it did. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah, that was funny. That was pretty good. You know, but I was looking at it, man, and all I could think was, why would she be this trifling on TV? Like, we can
She's
see
trying to
you
be famous or something.
And you know,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
because it's like season 8 or something of Spanish Temptation Island, and even if not, like it's existed in other places forever. So it's like you know how the show works. You know that if you hook up with somebody, that it's going to be on camera and he's going to be shown it. Like, you know that. That's how the show works. So like, I don't know. It's reality TV, so like probably some of it's a little fake. I don't know how like together they actually were, but damn,
yeah,
insanity.
And like the thing that caught me too, because the more like I said, I was so invested in it. I'm even interrupting conversations in the Discord, like, fellas, you all have to go check out this Montoya clip.
You gotta look at this Montoya guy. I gotta understand.
This is insane. And what was even crazier, because I'm like, why would she do this, right? And then she starts to like cry after he confronts her. First she's writing him off, and then he runs off again and lays in the sand and pulling his shorts up and crying. And I'm feeling for the man. And she comes over there, and after she realizes that he saw it, I guess, on the camera or whatever, and now she's like, oh no, let me go run to him. She runs to him, and then all of a sudden she's crying. I'm like, what for? You just did all of that a second ago and humped the guy like a jackrabbit.
Yeah.
But now you want to cry? And he pushed her away, which I was happy about. But you know what was crazy? After that happened, I see another clip where it showed, well, I saw two clips. One, it showed why she was doing that so openly and brazen. It was because he had apparently had this lady dance up on him and was kissing on him, and it looked like she went down on him. She didn't quite do it, I guess. I don't know if she went too far.
The show's crazy. She might have.
Yeah. And so that was her reasoning. But then come to find out, after seeing another clip, she had slept with a guy before that clip that he had saw.
Yeah.
I'm
Ain't that
like,
some shit?
what? I'm like, this heifer is trifling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I have never been so engaged into a show where I couldn't understand a lick of what they were saying
I
until
don't know
now.
what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
I don't really know how the show works.
Yeah, man, it was something.
But I'm invested in this exact moment.
I'm invested. I want the best for Montoya. Oh, you know what else was real disappointing? Come to find out after the case, Montoya got back with her.
Oh, come on now.
I saw some video and some images where he was walking with her, I guess wherever they're at in Spain or whatever, and she kissed him and all that, and they're going shopping, and I'm like, ugh, I could never kiss you after that. Not after that. Yeah, it was disappointing, man. But hey, it is, maybe they did it all for show. I don't know.
Cool.
So yeah, the Super Bowl. What was your thoughts? Did you have any bets on any of the teams? Were you rooting for the Chiefs or the Eagles?
I didn't have any bets on either of the teams because I hate both of the teams. I think I hate both of them. The Chiefs, I think I might actually hate less than the Eagles a little bit because like
you hate the audience.
The Chiefs
of the Philly.
Yeah.
Philly Eagles
fan
fans
base
are
is
terrible. Yeah.
the worst. They are the worst fan base.
Yep. Sorry, they are.
So I was like, I don't care who wins, but I guess I'm kind of, I don't know. I was like 1% rooting for the Chiefs, maybe, because I was like, oh, if they win, then it's like the first three-peat, and that's neat. Like that's something, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, that'd have been interesting. They stopped their dynasty right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they stomped it into the dirt because it was one of the most boring blowout Super Bowls I've seen in my life.
Yeah, definitely one of the worst. Easily.
Yeah. But halftime though.
Halftime
was real good.
I enjoyed it. I want to get your thoughts on it, and I'll give mine. What did you think of the half? That's all I tuned into it for, by the way. I had no interest in anything else. It wasn't my Bears, the Bears. So I couldn't have cared less, you know.
Yeah.
But what was your thought on the show? Give me your full feelings of the Super Bowl halftime show.
Man, Drake, like it's crazy. The performance was great. I loved everything that he did there. He didn't do the like goofy voice that I hate sometimes that he does.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a really good performance all around.
Yeah.
He's a genius lyrically. So
he is.
You just listen to what he's saying and it's really, really interesting. It's really good.
But according to some people, according to the conservatives in MAGA, they couldn't understand what he was saying.
Well, they're too stupid to understand. It's a combination. I think that some of them are too stupid to understand that they were the ones being made fun of.
Right.
And then the other ones are just don't get it. Or like they understand it just enough to know that they're the ones being made fun of. And then they go,
I don't like this.
I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, I think that's exactly
White
what it is.
Facebook mom. Yeah. I work with like 4 of them, so I've been hearing it.
Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah.
Man, I would be
They're
mocking
like, I just
him.
didn't care for the halftime. And I was like, I don't know. I think it was like kind of one of his best performances that I'm aware of. Like,
I would have been like, they
damn good.
They not like us. I would have just kept saying it as I'm walking around working or something. They not like us. They'd be like, oh, I can't stand him.
Yeah. I'm sure they already can't stand me, but it's fine.
Yeah, man. But I thought the show was really good. The halftime show, a lot of symbol. What's the word I want to use? Is it symbology?
I think symbology or just symbolism, either one.
Symbolism. Let's go with symbolism because I know that's the word at least. I don't. So a lot of symbolism in it from Uncle Sam with, funny enough, Sam Jackson. Who better, right? Some people were like, Uncle Tom? Like, no, idiot.
Uncle Tom. Well, I understand that a little bit because of his like Django character, maybe.
Yeah.
And because of like the things he was saying, it's like, okay, like maybe that's a little
on the nose because of Django. I could kind of see that. But yeah.
Uncle Tom leaning. But the joke. Yeah. But the joke is like that he's America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Because Uncle Tom is a representation, for those that might not know, a representation of America. And, typically it was used for military meanings, but it's typically a meaning for America. So you got him up there saying, oh, you're too ghetto. Tone it down, which is a representation, speaking of how America has we've been tone police essentially, and
the exact things that the Facebook moms are saying about the halftime show, ironically.
Exactly. And then you had other one where he was like,
They're like, I understand it's a little ghetto. Like,
yeah, he says, do you know how to play the game? And you see the field is made up of this triangle, square, circle, like a PlayStation controller or Squid Games, because it kind of had the Squid Game feeling to it as well.
There was a little bit of that.
Yeah, so you got all of that, and then you have Kendrick saying the revolution will be televised and all of that, and you have what's this, Simba? The NPC look amazing. All the characters in here. No, it does. This game is gorgeous, man. I'm going to get into this, and we'll get into this in 1 second. So please stick by and stand by. Shout out to everybody in the chat, by the way. If you're here, say something in the chat. Let us know you're here, and thank you for coming by. Hit the like button and subscribe if you're new.
Much.
Yeah, but like he's saying all these different things, and he tone shifts each time he says something to him about basically about how he needs to behave. And so he's don't be ghetto, then he's like tighten it up, and then he's like slow it down, it's too aggressive. So each time he shifts it to something specific for those things, and I just thought that was so dope once I really thought on it. And of course seeing the red, white, and blue people in red, white, and blue representing the flag, obviously, and being
America
black, being
literally built on the back of
exactly.
Yeah,
I just thought that was real dope, and I think it's fitting. And I don't know why truth is so negative to some people. I don't know why people see that and be like, you just want to keep bringing it up. It's like, why are you so afraid of it? We're not saying you did it.
Yeah, well, the problem is that I think, and maybe this is me projecting slightly, I think that the people who have a problem with it are also part of the problem, and they're just like not willing to accept that in themselves yet.
I guess.
So
I guess, man. I feel like, the old saying is hit dog holler, but it's like, why are you putting yourself out there in a way that you don't have to? How about you just enjoy the show? I don't have a problem of seeing,
or just say nothing.
Or say nothing. Sometimes it's best not to say anything. That's true.
Yeah.
The old saying is, it's best to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. And some people don't learn to take that advice. Sometimes I've fallen victim to that, where I'm like, I should have shut up a long time ago. But my whole thing is I like the symbolism in it all the way through. I thought it resonated for that reason. I think what he did was he captured the moment of where he's at, and right now he's speaking toward the culture. And I mean, that's been that way since last year with him and Drake battling. So I think he's continuing to embrace that, and I thought it played out well in the show. I just thought it was really well done.
It was really good. The only part of it I was confused by, and not even like it was bad, but I was just like confused, was like, why was Serena Williams there?
Oh, well, she was Drake's ex. She was with Drake.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Also, too, Drake had, like, when she had moved on or whatever, and they broke up, whatever the case was, and she got with the guy who from Reddit, that guy that she's with now, the husband. Drake had trashed him in a song. He dissed him. Dissed her too in a way. So this was kind of like, and if you listen to one of Kendrick's songs, I think it was Not Like Us, he said something about don't ever come disrespectful toward Serena again, or something like that, right? And she's from Compton.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
She's from Compton too, by the way, like Kendrick is. So yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's all this kind of city love for the LA thing going on with them. So that all played into it. So yeah, that was pretty funny. Also, one of the funniest, to me, probably the funniest moment was when he turned toward the camera, smiling like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And, hey, say Drake. I was like, he's not gonna say his name. He's not gonna.
He's dead.
He said it. Man, it's this clip by that guy. Have you seen him? The Tony, I think it's Stravani. I think that's how you say his name. He's like, he's not going to say my name. He's just teasing it. He's not really. And then every time he does what he said he's not going to do, he looks toward the camera like, whoa. It's hilarious. But no, I thought it was good, man. Entertained the hell out of me. And after that, it was come to find out now, the most watched halftime show of all time. Barely beating Michael Jackson by 1 million.
Yeah.
Just barely. Michael had it since 97, I guess it was. And he had 133.4, and Kendrick had it by 133.5.
Man, I don't remember.
Not even a
I
million.
don't remember the Michael Jackson one. Probably because it was like when I was 4.
Yeah, you were
But
pretty small at that point.
for me, the best one was always Prince singing "Purple Rain in the Rain."
Yeah, Prince is. I hear a lot of people often say Prince. I don't have a problem with it. I still see MJ's as the best, and because
You're probably right.
I love MJ too, so I'm biased. But I love Prince too, to be fair. But MJ is to me is the greatest entertainer of all time. So I'm very biased when it comes to that. But Prince's was more iconic in the sense of the rain coming down like that. It was just too poetic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not mad at that. I had a few other people named Prince over Michael that I talked to, so that's fair. But yeah, as far as me, of course, Avowed is the gameplay is showing here. The game is, again, just gorgeous, man. The HDR is beautiful. It looks gorgeous on my LG. You come into dark areas and out of them. The light shift is beautiful. This is, of course, you see all the things play into it with Lumen and everything that Unreal offers. It's just gorgeous. I've been playing this. I got a few new games on Steam. I cannot remember all of them off the top of my head, but I have been playing that game Hack, Haak, that had some contention being on Xbox at some point. I got that on Steam. That's pretty fun. It's a Metroidvania, so I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, I don't know if I've heard about that one.
Yeah, it's you might remember the situation where the guys were trying to get the game on Xbox and nobody from Xbox was contacting them for like months.
I do remember that. I didn't remember the game, but I remember the situation.
Yeah, that was them. And so I'm playing that and enjoying the hell out of that. I love Metroidvanias. So, okay, you can see some of the combat in here, by the way, to the question you guys were asking about.
Looks good.
It is dope, man. I like the stamina bar. Me and Lucius were talking about it briefly before I jumped in, which was slightly what held me up because we were just going over our thoughts. And you can see the blood trails when you're stabbing. I'm stabbing the hell out of this thing, by the way. Lizard man here. And you can hold the R trigger to do a more powerful stab or whatever, cut or hit, whatever, depending on whatever weapon you have. Obviously, you have your offhand, so I got my shield there. I like how they have it too, where you can press Y to swap. So you essentially get 4 weapon slots for your hands, 2 hands each, right? And so for me, I have my spear in the right power hand or whatever, or dominant hand, and in an off hand, I have the shield. I can press Y and put the bow and arrow, which will take 2 slots in the next one, and I press Y again, and it'll switch back to this. And you could hold Y to just put all your stuff away and walk around without, having your weapons out. And you can get the grimoire, which allows you to cast spells and stuff like that, or the wand. And you can put that in your offhand and cast the fire from your right hand, your dominant. So it's really dope. And it's a lot of different ways that it allows you to play into it. It's really, really cool. What's up, Soil Tech? Kay, what's up, brother? Spartan, Max City, ENT, thank you all for being here. Bushido, I'm not sure if you're still here plaguing our chat, but he made a tweet earlier talking about.
I saw it.
You saw it, talking about report this channel to get it taken down. Anyway, let's move into the news roundup, man, and then we can try to get to. We'll do the Avowed review roundup, and I'll give my thoughts further on it, on what I might disagree with or whatever. Then we can move into the state of play.
Yeah, sounds good. So the first thing I have here is there was an interview recently with Ted Price, who just left Insomniac. He did an interview with Greg Miller from Kinda Funny, and one of the biggest takeaways that people are taking from it is that apparently he pitched Resistance 4 to place that was always rejected, which seems in hindsight really funny.
You said he pitched what now?
Resistance 4. So it's just really funny in hindsight because they're like trying so hard to get a live service game off the ground, and he's like, well, we could do Resistance, it was really popular during the PS3, and they go, nah, we want to cancel all these other projects instead.
Yeah, it's kind of sad because, again, it just shows to me this lack of of them understanding what to do with their IP. It seems like lately. Now they fully adjusted to having this action action third person over the shoulder, super high visuals, but they ignore all the other IP they have, which could probably turn their fortunes around. Not to say though that they necessarily need it, seeing how their quarter results came in and they're dominating, but they could be doing so much more with actually using the IP they have. I don't know why they won't use their IP like that. It's weird. And Resistance, I know a lot. It's a fan favorite, and you got the guy there saying, "Hey, I would love to make this," and you're like, "Nope, but we'll do Concord though." Like, what? Makes no sense.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous to be like, "Hey, let's roll the dice on this completely untested thing that looks so boring and has not tested well with our groups before launch," instead of greenlighting a sequel to a game that was was one of like two reasons that the PS3 even was worth existing for the first 2/3 of its life cycle.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess new leadership just breeds different ideology. I mean, look at Xbox, right?
Yeah. Although to be fair, I guess the people he was pitching that to are all gone now.
Yeah.
Because that probably would have been during like the Jim Ryan
era. Yeah. If it was Sean Layden there, it probably would have been greenlit. So
there's a good chance, yeah.
Because Sean Layden, for whatever faults that he may have, he knew how to run the division when it comes to putting out hits. So
yeah,
I can see that being the case. But anyway, hey, it is what it is. C'est la vie, as they was.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
In other PlayStation news, actually, there's a lot of PlayStation news this week. Just to give everyone a heads up. In other PlayStation news, PSN went down for an entire day. So Friday night, I believe it went down for a full 24 hours. During which time people got really upset when they found out that
Teasy, what's up, man?
People who own physical games but have an external disk drive, because if you plug the disk drive in, it tells you that you can't use the disk because it can't verify the disk to your account.
Oh wow.
So they literally did like the Xbox One DRM thing that everyone hated and just didn't tell anyone that it existed.
Shady.
Yeah. So on PlayStation, you really just don't own anything ever, apparently.
After all that talking that our Who brothers did about owning their games.
You can sort of circumvent the issue with the disk drive here by, apparently, just as a heads up for everybody, if you go into your settings and you turn off console sharing and offline play, or rather turn that on, then it'll let you do it for at least most games, but there's some where it's still just like, well, we can't verify this for your account. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Good to know that if the internet goes out, my video game console is just gone.
It's just a brick now. But it's interesting because I saw a lot of tweets. People like, oh, that PlayStation is still down after 12 hours, so I decided to go buy an Xbox. I was laughing my butt off. It's like, you didn't go buy a damn Xbox.
Yeah, you did not go buy an Xbox.
Stop it. Yeah,
you took a nap.
Right. Stop it. But that is funny. It's crazy because I remember the conversation about it. People were like, oh, this never happened to Xbox. I'm like, no, it did happen.
Yeah, Xbox Live has gone down a couple of times.
Yeah, it's gone down a couple. It hasn't been as dramatic, maybe, but it definitely went down last year. I remember that.
Yeah.
It was probably like what a few hours, I think, maybe 10 or something like that. Something.
I don't remember. Whatever it was, it didn't end up affecting me, and I don't remember if that was because like my region it didn't go down, or if it was because like I was at work while it was down.
Yeah,
it was one or the other though.
Yeah, it might have been because of the region thing, because it wasn't everybody. Some people were still getting on. I remember that being the case, and some could get back on faster than others too. But there was a big DDoS attack that they tried to attack the Azure servers with that, and this could be a byproduct of that, where they got PlayStation because of it. So
I guess that's possible, yeah, because don't they partner with Azure for their?
I think
for
so.
Their things? Wasn't that a thing?
I believe so. I believe they do. Well, I know they were talks to do it. I don't know if it actually happened yet. I got to look more into that, but I think that was the case, that they're partnered with Microsoft for their Azure servers. So, yeah.
Uh,
I wonder what happens with that. Like, if they're paying for this service, they get a DDoS attack or whatever the case, and their servers and such are down, and their gamers are asked out for a whole day. Do they get compensation from that by the way, from Microsoft, or what? I wonder how that works.
I wouldn't think so, because like it's not an issue with the server, right? It's an issue like the issue is the server is being attacked. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if your bank gets hit by a meteorite, you know, your bank doesn't like owe you a favor, you know?
Do me a solid. Give me my money.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I guess you're right about that. Yeah, it's out of their hands essentially, right? But yeah, what else did we have?
We have the end of the year earnings for the big three. So this has been going around because Sony was the last of the big three to place their end of year results. They did pretty decently. Nothing like was dramatically up. Their content and services was up, and their or no, I think content. I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're doing decently well in like basically every area except console. Console is still down and like by quite a bit. Which makes sense. They're at the end of their life cycle, and the economy being what it is, like people are just not buying a ton. It is a little disappointing because they just put out the Pro, and that apparently didn't really do huge numbers, but we knew that already.
But
So
I thought the Pro was like the main catalyst for like getting them the sales they wanted as far as the uptick in hardware sale.
that is true, but it's because so earlier in the quarter they had dramatically cut the amount that they were expecting to sell. And then later at the end of the quarter, they were like, thanks to the Pro, we can raise our results back up. But they only raised it like a third of what they had dropped it originally. So it's still a drop from what they were expecting. And so it's still less year over year than it was last year, but it's just not by as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see.
So they were like happy that it wasn't as bad as they thought it was going to be, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that's good. But some interesting numbers came out of it. Is one of the genuinely only people who I trust on Twitter to talk about like actual numbers, because he doesn't like add a bunch of extra stuff. He just says what the numbers are,
doesn't
and go on with
embellish.
his life.
Yeah.
He doesn't be like, well, this number is this, and that means that PlayStation is dying. Like he just posts the number
Right.
and then lets you into it what you want. It's a Derek Strickland from
Okay.
Tweaktown or whatever.
Yeah. Their is pretty decent.
So I took some numbers from him, and here's what we have is apparently this is for the entire year. So for all of 2024, PlayStation apparently made $30.8 billion off of 75 million consoles sold in total. And Xbox made $22.7 billion off of 35.9 million consoles sold. So PlayStation has outsold Xbox slightly more than 2 to 1, but they're not making as much of a like profit off of it, it seems like.
You know, it's
which is
actually
interesting.
It is really interesting because it's like, I think PlayStation total was like how much billions? I think 30 something billion.
30.8.
30.8, and Microsoft, even for their lackadaisical sales in hardware, still sold to 22.7, I think it was, billion.
Yeah. So
It's
there's about a difference of 8 billion, which is a lot of money.
It is a lot.
But considering how vastly different the console sales are, it's not anywhere near what you would expect.
Yeah.
What's even weirder, and I think he even acknowledges that like it's probably not accurate for Nintendo, but Nintendo, they only reported 8 billion in earnings, and that's off of over 150 million consoles. That one, I don't know if there's something weird going on there, because it's like, I know that Nintendo is one of the ones that like doesn't show up on MPD a lot because they like don't count their digital sales or something.
Right.
So I don't know if that's what's also being affected here, but these numbers should be based off of their own like earnings results from their their calls, their earnings calls. But I just find it hard to believe that Nintendo only made 8 billion. Like that doesn't seem accurate to me.
It seems crazy low, but I guess it's like you said, they're at the end of their life cycle, really.
True. And they really didn't put out like any games last year. They put out 2, but like they didn't do numbers.
They didn't do that great, yeah. And I played, I
possible.
played Zelda too. It was decent, but it wasn't like, oh man, this is gonna sell. This is gonna move some units right here.
And you also have to keep in mind that like maybe like I don't know that a lot of people play the big like live service games where they're doing a lot of microtransactions on Switch.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure like there's people who play Fortnite on Switch and stuff, but it's I'm sure a dramatically lower amount than play on the other consoles or on PC.
Yeah.
So
Shout out
it
to
could be
Pyro.
accurate. It just I wouldn't be surprised if there was like some other aspect to why that number is so low. So I'm not like getting on Nintendo, although that number is very strange.
Yeah.
What I'm more interested in is the fact that like Xbox is able to make almost the same amount of money as PlayStation, despite the fact that they have less than half the consoles in the marketplace.
Yes, it's pretty crazy when you really look at that. Just I mean, it goes to show you how much Call of Duty, how much work it does as far as a IP, invaluable. Like they're making all of that purchase back largely off of Call of Duty alone. It's insane, and that's not even. I mean, that's ignoring Diablo and like, WoW. They're
Right.
definitely getting their money back. I mean, it seems insane how much
Candy
they
Crush.
paid for it. And Candy Crush, right? Exactly. Shout out to Pyro too. He says, he said, "Hey to us, both of us. Hey, Pyro brother." He says that's because the hardest of core PS owners are play Twitter, not their games on their consoles.
It
I
feels that
bet.
way sometimes, though.
I bet. Y'all, Soil Tech said that is John Wolf going to have to give up his W. he would never give that up. You already know Soil Tech. I was asking John if he wanted to appear on the show tonight just to go over the numbers because he was celebrating being right about PlayStation having like a high sale through for hardware and stuff like that.
Oh, but they don't.
That's the way he was framing it. Like, oh, see how much they sold, and so
I mean, they sold more than Xbox, if that's what his argument was. But like, we knew they would. But they're also down. Like, the whole industry is down.
yeah. Listen, you got to argue with him on that because he's not gonna let you get away with it. I'm telling you, he's gonna be like, nope.
All right.
Shout out to
he
shout out
can
to
be wrong
John.
all he wants, I guess.
Yeah. Shout out to John. So this, looking at Nintendo, like you said, I think again it goes back to them not having, like you said, the games that really would drive it. And I think they've sold through most of the hardware they're going to sell through anyway, right?
Yeah, at this point, I really don't foresee a lot of new people buying consoles. At this point, I would assume, for PlayStation at least,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably going to be like upgrades to the Pro or like my console bricked. You know, my girlfriend took a hammer to it, like happens on Twitter apparently all the time.
You know, there was this one thing though about PlayStation sales. Apparently, 42% of the buyers for the console were new buyers, first time buyers. There is that interesting tidbit. So I imagine seeing the numbers that they sold through, I imagine or wonder if those who may have shifted from Xbox moved over to PlayStation. Do you think that has
It's
any?
possible.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely possible, or it could just be that people are at the point in the generation where they're like buying the one that they didn't already have.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's some probably some combination of that. I do think that like, I mean, we'll talk about this I'm sure 100 more times before it ends up happening, but I do think that with the next generation Xbox launch, because we know it's supposed to launch earlier than PlayStation at this point, apparently it potentially as early as next year.
Yeah.
That we know, I think that when that starts happening, I think that the next generation will do a lot better for Xbox in terms of console sales.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think then you're going to get not just all the Xbox people, but you'll also get like the tech people who just want to have the best thing in the console space. You'll get a lot of people who are just like, well, I don't have to buy a PlayStation. There hasn't been a new PlayStation for a long time and won't be for apparently another at least 2 years after that. So I think that they really open up a window for themselves there. So I think that'll be the real test.
Yeah, you could be right about that.
Especially if it ends up having Steam inclusion on it. Which, like, at that point, you're going to get a lot of PC people just buying an Xbox and sticking it in their TV, like in their living room.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I'm really interested in seeing how next gen is going to play out, because one of the debates was, well, this is less incentive for Microsoft to continue with their hardware if they've only roughly sold, and this is me possibly being generous, 40 million Xbox Series consoles. So, but you can see they have this more software approach going on now. So I just wonder. I know next gen is going to be some hardware. So
Yeah.
I know some people are still on the fence and they're weary, and I don't think they're going to have hardware. I'm not sure. Blah blah blah. And they have some valid reasoning because Microsoft they have done that where they'll put R&D millions to R&D and then cancel a project or whatever. But I don't think this will be the case for this. I think they've spoken about this way too many times. It would be a crazy rug pull to finally be like, well, we're not going to have anything. Sorry.
Well, I forget exactly what it was, but Jez just put out something today saying that the next gen Xbox hardware had been like approved and was going into like basically finalization.
Oh, did he? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I forget exactly what he said, but it was something to that effect.
Okay. Yeah, like.
Let me see if I can find it while we keep talking.
Okay. Yeah, because to me, I thought it was just common sense. I'm gonna be as honest as I can. Personally, I just thought it was common sense because I don't think you just pull the rug from under your fan base without properly setting them up. And the talk about this was the technological leap in an Xbox, and they really have no need to just abandon that just yet. They still have, let's say, 35 million people who will buy your next hardware. You don't just give that up, right? Now, I think the problem is that, or at least people may think they're going to subsidize, and I don't think Microsoft is anymore. And I think after having the PS5 Pro launch at $700, that's what they'll do for next-gen consoles. I think Sony kind of set the table for what we can expect pricing-wise there. And because the technology has to apply, right? I don't think you can have a great leap in expectations as far as technology without paying a nice little pretty penny for it. Unfortunately, because I don't think Microsoft, according to what Phil was saying, just how his interview went, it doesn't seem like they're going to subsidize. So I'm interested in seeing how that all plays out, especially with the whole Steam and other storefront implementation. I'm so interested in seeing how all that works, and the whole Microsoft OS system. I'm just really hyped for that, honestly. And I think a lot of Xbox gamers are going to love it because it solves a lot of problems, but it leaves a lot of new questions. Like, how does that all work with Steam implementation? I really want to know.
Yeah. I think in terms of, we also got some interesting news today, or maybe Tuesday, because you guys talked about it on Xbox Factor.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, it was before you had joined. But in terms of like, will people not buy the Xbox because they are moving exclusives onto other platforms? Now we're starting to get rumbles from like Jason Schreier and Grubb and what's that guy's name? They said, you guys said it in the podcast, but I don't remember his name. Genki.
Oh,
like
Genki.
A lot of the big insiders. Now they're saying that like word from inside PlayStation is like that they are expecting to start publishing things more places.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I don't know how soon that's going to start happening, but some people are going to be really upset about that. But I don't think it's I think it's a good idea. I think it is the way to, quite frankly, kind of save the games industry at this point, because all these layoffs are insane.
Yeah, all these layoffs are insane, and this probably segues into something I'm imagining, because if you got it in the notes, I'm not sure, because there was some recent layoffs.
I don't have any in the specific notes. Do you remember what teams it was?
It was Crytek.
Oh yeah. I did see that.
Yeah, so
they laid off a bunch of their people.
Yeah, I think it was like 400 people or something like that, which was kind of insane because I didn't know that many people were working at Crytek like that still. And so they said, I forgot how the small percentage, but it was roughly 400 people. So I'm like, how many people do you have at Crytek? It was like really surprising to hear that. Spartan, I said hello to you a while ago. I think you must have stepped away, brother. AJH, what's up, brother? Better late than never. Magnum, what's up? He says, why would Microsoft pay for development of a console just to have Steam as the main storefront? Makes zero sense. I don't think it'll be the main storefront, Magnum. I think it'll be an option to have to allow access to it. And the way I think they're going to do it is going to be more PC focused next console because of the Microsoft OS or how they're going to handle it. You're essentially going to have a PC. We have these series consoles are PCs anyway. The x86 architecture better yet, but you don't have the Windows accessibility that you would on a typical PC. The next one I think is going to have more of that. It's going to be streamlined, of course, for ease of use, but it's going to allow for that type of connectability with these storefronts. That's the way I'm looking at it. I still don't understand how the pricing part is going to work for that. As far as a split, that's the part that seems confusing and why I doubt it in some ways. So that's the only thing for me that I'm like, how is it going to work out? But yeah, somebody else came through that I didn't say hello to. AJH, what's up, brother? Lucius says that Avowed is incredible, by the way. Yes, it is, Lucius. It is incredible, I have to say. I've only got an hour in, but I am very excited to get back into it, and I'm not playing this on my ROG Ally. This is going to be strictly for my LG. It's too gorgeous to waste time on the ROG Ally with it. I'm just going to be honest. AJ said he's holding out until proper release. He's got to finish Rebirth. A few other people were playing Rebirth, AJH, and they put that aside to jump into Avowed. So I hear you though. I bought Rebirth, but I'm not playing it anytime soon because I haven't played Remake. So yeah. Anyway, did you found an article with the?
I did.
Yeah.
So he said that he's been told that Xbox's next gen console hardware has moved past its pitching stage. It's been fully approved and costed all the way up the chain. So they're officially making them.
Okay. Well,
so
there you go then. Hey,
I
I knew what was happening anyway, but yeah.
I mean, it seems pretty confirmed that there's going to be hardware at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been talking about that handheld for 3 years.
They've been talking about it for a while. Not even coyly. They've been obvious about it. So yeah, and I think I keep telling people where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't think they're going to keep telling you these things and then be like, we're not going to give you a console. Though I do get the rationale of fear based off moves they've made before where they just canceled off again, where they've had. So I get it. I just don't think that'll be the case here with this.
No, it wouldn't really make sense to me because the whole, I don't know. I know that on paper, them saying them moving to put stuff on other platforms, people's gut reaction is gonna be oh, well then why do I need this platform? Well, I mean, think about it in terms of anything else, right? Think about it in terms of computers. You can have an AMD card or an NVIDIA card, but you're playing all the same games, right? So they just compete on a hardware basis instead of software exclusively, right? It's the same thing for phones. It's the same thing for any consumer electronics, So it is true. Video games is the only world where exclusivity exists. The only other thing I can think of is podcasts, because some are only on Apple or some are only on Spotify.
Well, I guess you could say streaming services too, right? Like HBO Max or
True,
Paramount,
but even then, we're starting to see some of those get sold around because
that's true.
I have seen Paramount sold Yellowstone and now it's on something Peacock. Maybe it's on somewhere else.
Oh, they got rid of that. I didn't know that.
Well, they didn't get rid of it. They're streaming it on other places.
Oh, okay, got you.
And we saw, I think Hulu did that with some of their stuff, the Runaways and those shows that they took off. They then put them on other.
They
services.
Sure did. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
So it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's everyone is basically saying that the exclusive games, I don't know, strategy is just not. It's not gonna be able to last. You have to find ways to grow, and if consoles are not growing, they're plateauing according to everybody. Then you have to find new places to put your games.
Yeah, and I think
it's as simple as.
Yeah, and in this case, it feels like Microsoft might be ahead of the game. They typically are when it comes to a lot of this innovation. When it comes to that, but sometimes it bites them in the ass. So I just wonder how this is going to play out for them this time. I'm really interested in seeing how it all works out. I'm hoping it works out well, man. I like it. Sounds exciting to me, and I think it will usher more of our Xbox gamers toward the PCMR. And I'm not saying that to say like guys moving to PCMR, but I will say after moving into being more of PC for like heavier games like this, that are reliant on Unreal and stuff like that, it is wondrous to be able to see all these beautiful visuals and not sacrifice performance. It really is something, I have to say.
Right.
It's tough.
But don't a lot of games like perform way worse on PC for no reason?
It seems to be the case for some, right? Where I know some have issues. I know the Xbox app itself is underwhelming compared to like getting the games on Steam, for instance. I don't know what's wrong with Microsoft when it comes to that. They need to fix that. But yeah, I don't know what's up with that. But I do know that where there used to be a lot of hiccups where why is this not happening, or why can't I play this? That does happen. And I'm not as tech savvy as I would love to be to figure some of that nonsense out. So, but so far, I will say I've only had like one issue with a game that I bought off Steam. So it didn't load up, and I don't know why it was acting that way. But it was such an old game that I wasn't like, oh, I gotta play this. So it's whatever. Yeah. But other than that, it's been smooth sailing, I would say. But I just love the idea of what next gen offers for Xbox, honestly, for the gamers.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's literally just going to be, from what we understand, like it's basically just going to be a PC anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
pretty much,
people can move to PC all they want, but like that's going to be a PC too. So just get that PC.
There you go.
Like it'll be cheaper. It'll probably be easier to use. So.
What's the old saying? Wherever you go, there you are.
Wherever you go, you're on Xbox.
Yeah, that's right. This is an Xbox, as they say.
Yeah.
Pyro says that my idea for Steam Epic Store integration is to have them as an app like Stream Arcade. Okay, where Xbox users pay a monthly, yearly subscription to use the PC stores. Please don't give them any ideas, Pyro. Don't give them any ideas to charge us more. But I hear you. That could work. Yeah, I can see that being the case. What's up, King Webb, brother? He said hello to both of us. Spartan says he bought Ninja Gaiden Trilogy in September. He beat Ninja Gaiden Black on OG Xbox. He just beat Ninja Gaiden Black 2 days ago. And he's about to play the third tomorrow. That's another game I played, by the way, recently. I beat Ninja Gaiden Black 2 maybe 4 days ago or so. I could have beat it longer before that, but yeah, I beat that. It's a glorious game, as it always was, and it looks really good in Unreal Engine 5. Cannot wait for part 4. What else did we have, Danny?
Just two more things before the main topics. And this one will be really short, I think. There's some rumors going around of what the next God of War is going to be. I think it came from Tom Henderson, from what I understand, but the link that I had just sent me to a podcast he was on, so I don't know. Anyway, the next God of War is rumored to be set in Greece, and it's a prequel from before the first God of War. And apparently it focuses on Kratos' relationship with his dad. So now he's the boy.
Boy.
I don't know. It'll probably, like, if that is true, like, that game will probably end up being good. But I'll be honest, like, that doesn't speak to me. That's not something that I'm excited for from a text description. I would need to actually see the game probably to care.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones.
I mean, I love God of War, so I would like to see what they're doing with that. It seems to be a side project, though, right? Because it's clearly not going to be. Well, no, I guess they could possibly go back in time and show some things, but it doesn't seem like it'll be the mainline game from where things are going. I wonder, but I'm all for it. I have no problem with them doing it. Yeah.
Again, this is just a rumor that was from a podcast that Tom Henderson was on. So I'm not necessarily putting any eggs in this basket. It's just a fun thing that's going around right now.
Yeah. I like to see it play out. Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yep.
But the last thing I have here, and the only thing not related to video games, is WWE and AEW have both released some people from contracts recently. AEW released 3 people. They released Miro, who his contract was up anyway, and Malachi Black, same thing. And then the third person, Ricky Starks, Astra's released, and they were like, yeah, all right, whatever. And now he's over in NXT, which is really funny.
I saw him jump in there. And
Yeah, it makes sense. He
Yeah.
feels he feels like an NXT person, so I understand him going there.
Mhm.
There's a part of it that's weird though, where like Ricky Stark's whole thing is that he's kind of like a ripoff
Of
The Rock,
Yeah.
and I feel like WWE already has like 3 of those, so I don't necessarily know that there's a lot of like headroom for him there.
Yeah, we
But
got
we'll
one.
see.
We
He's
got
on
one
NXT, so who
prominent
cares?
one we know of course. With
LA Knight.
LA Knight. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with him, but he wasn't getting used in AEW because I don't know, he just wasn't really getting over. Like he had a tag team that was pretty popular for a while, but just like I don't know, like they're just
I remember him getting.
wasn't feeling him.
Who was that to trash? I think it was Edge, right? It wasn't Edge that trashed him, that called him out for acting like The Rock or something like that.
Oh, it might have.
I think it was
might have
Edge.
been.
That was funny because
It was
Edge,
either him or it was Daniel Bryan. It was one of them.
one of them, yeah, because they looked at him
It was one of them.
like they weren't
Yeah.
entertaining his shit, and it was like, you're a fake Rock. Well, I'm like, damn.
Yeah. But then on the WWE side, they released 12 people, and their people largely were not people who like their contract was up. It was just like you're fired, which
Damn.
is more aggressive for sure, but it happens. They let go AOP, so Akam and Razar from Authors of Pain, as well as Paul Ellering, which is weird because like they need managers in my opinion. I don't think they should have let him go. They also let go Sonya Deville, Blair Davenport, Cedric Alexander, Electra Lopez, Duke Hudson, Isla Dawn, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Giovanni Vinci. Of which the only ones that I think are like strange choices are Sonya Deville, because she's been doing like pretty good right now. She's the head of a trio of girls that wasn't like super over, but like they were doing fine, And they didn't let the other 2 girls go, at least not yet, although this has been rolling for the last couple days, so there's likely to be more. So I don't know, we'll see.
A lot of them I didn't know.
Yeah, well, a lot of them are NXT people.
Yeah,
so.
that's probably what it was now, because I'm like, I don't know who these people are. But I did see people like speaking on it, and they were disappointed. And the lady you were just speaking of, they were like,
Sonya
really?
Deville, yeah,
they didn't like that.
We like Sonya Deville. She's cool.
Yeah,
she was really popular for a long time, and then she like kind of fell off, but not like to a dramatic degree or anything. Like she's still on TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other one that's interesting is Cedric Alexander, I think. So he was part do a group called the Hurt Business that is now almost completely reformed in AEW.
Right.
So he is almost certainly going to go and join them over there, because famously the Hurt Business, it's a group of black guys who were basically going to have the exact same storyline that the Bloodline was having. Like they pitched it, and then Vince,
really,
because Vince was still in power then. Vince was like, "That's a great idea. I'm gonna do it with the Samoan guys."
Ain't that about a bleep? It took it from them. Now they're gonna give it to the Samoans, which all love to the Samoan brothers.
I mean, look, the Bloodline storyline's good.
It is,
but it feels bad in that way.
It does feel kind of bad. It's a long history of black people's thoughts and getting taken from them too, given to somebody else.
But they're
not in my Black History Month, but.
Right.
But I was going to say,
Google just removed Black History.
I saw that nonsense.
That's some shit.
Also, too, it's no longer the Gulf of Mexico. If you all don't know, it's the Gulf of America.
The Gulf of America. God, we live in a society.
Man.
But no, so the Hurt Business is now over in AEW, and they're
Street Profits,
doing some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
No, the Street Profits. They're still in WWE. They're heels now, though.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That was the 2 guys I saw. Okay.
Yeah. They were like being teased to join the Hurt Business back in the day, but I don't think that ever actually happened.
I think I did see that where he was like, "You're not doing this," or like he was like, what's that dude name?
MVP?
No, not MVP, but what's his name? Big dude.
Bobby Lashley?
Bobby Lashley was like chastising them all the time and stuff like that.
That's probably right.
Yeah, I can't remember all the details, but I do remember him like chastising them for not like, I guess, living up to the potential or something like that.
I mean, the Street Profits, I would agree they're not living up to their potential, but I don't think it's their fault. I think it's writing. I think that they're just not being used, because the Street Profits, in particular Montez Ford, are very talented.
I like Montez Ford.
And they're just,
it's funny,
they're just not getting anything,
I saw him complain about that, I think, recently. Where he was complaining of the use of his character, so
I don't blame it. Like Montez Ford could be a singles competitor very easily. Maybe not like holding the world championship or something, but he could be U.S. champion tomorrow.
U.S. or at least intercontinental, right? Something like that. And the same thing, I think, for Braun Braun.
Yeah. Well, Braun is champion now.
He
so
is now,
They're doing
but
something with him.
they are at least. But it still feels like he's underutilized. As honestly as I could put it, I did see how he destroyed ISO Speed, whatever.
Oh yeah, that was really good. I actually kind of like Speed. Like
I like
I've
Speed
grown to
too.
respect him.
He's a likable
Because
dude.
at first I was,
Yeah.
at first I was like, he's so annoying, and then like I started seeing clips of him like actually being a real person for a change, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, you know what? Like, no, he's cool. He's all right.
He seems like a genuinely nice person.
Yeah.
Despite the money and fame, I would say.
Yeah.
And pretty responsible in a lot of those ways, despite being a really young dude. So I got a lot of respect for him.
Yeah. For sure.
And of course, he puts on the antics and all of that. But I think it's all in
yeah.
good fun because he knows what his audience wants, right?
Yeah.
But
Well, and he's hanging out with Kai, and I think Kai is very much the same way, where Kai is
Pretty
this
much.
huge streamer. And he's gotten into trouble. Don't get me wrong. He had that thing
Mhm.
where he was like, I'm going to give away PS5, and then a bunch of, I mean,
Yeah,
technically not his
in
fault,
New
but like
York.
kind of his fault.
Uh-huh.
Like it was other people who did it.
Yeah.
But that's like the one negative I can think about for him. There might be others.
The
that I'm not aware
only
of.
negative
But-
for me outside of that with Kai was him talking down against I always say foundational Black Americans because or you could say descendants of slaves, right?
Okay.
Because Kai is not. I think Kai is Haitian, I believe, and it's all love to everybody in the diaspora. But he did talk down, saying that Black Americans didn't have culture or something like that. I'm like, brother, everything about you is Black American, from the way you style your hair to the clothing you wear to the music you listen to your antics and the words you say. All of it is Black American.
I mean,
so I just found that
can
pretty
we-
crazy to hear him say.
Can we rewind to that word because I don't know what it means? You said diaspora.
The
What is that?
the diaspora, they'll say that is for like all Black people in the diaspora from all across the world, be they Dominican, be they
Gotcha.
in Africa, be they here in America.
It's the people that
Yeah.
Facebook moms look at and say they're Black.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I gotcha. I understand.
Yeah. I might not be saying the word right either. Some people I think say it like diaspora or whatever. I say diaspora. So
I mean,
it could
I
be
don't know. I've
diaspora.
never heard it before. So
Yeah.
but it's a cool word.
Yeah, it sounds regal, right? That diaspora.
Yeah.
But let me read a few of these guys' words here. Pyro says he's talking only about a $4 a month, $40 a year subscription with that, going directly to Steam, Valve, just so they have an incentive to have the storefronts accessible on Xbox. That could work out, Pyro. I don't know how the math would work on all of that. So I don't know how they would work these things out between these companies. For all we know, Microsoft might be looking to buy Valve. Especially now, I think they would.
That
get away
has
with
been
it.
a rumor, which like would be insane. But we also know, like, Valve is a privately owned company. You can't buy shares of Steam or Valve or whatever. And Gabe Newell famously like kind of loves Xbox.
He does actually, yeah. He's a fan of them. So.
And I think they also have like a really good relationship with Epic. So it might just be like a thing where they could probably just pitch it to him and be like, I think this would be mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
And it could work out.
It's
I don't know.
win-win situation,
we'll have to
right?
wait and see.
Yeah.
The people who would be talking about this behind the scenes are way smarter about it than I am. So
Yeah,
I will
that's what I
trust them
look
to
at.
make the correct decision.
That's how I look at it. It's like I'm trying to do math and I'm like, well, how can they do this? I'm like, I give up because I don't know enough. And these people know what they're doing at the end of the day. And they have far smarter people than me that's doing the math. So I'll just shut up and wait to hear news.
I'm not going to tell Jason Ronald how to make a console, and I'm not going to tell
Exactly.
these businessmen what's going to make money for them.
Exactly. Spartan said PlayStation has multiple IPs they can renew. I like the games on PS1. Me too, Spartan. I like PS1 and PS2 era games. PS3 too. They had a lot of diversity. They went all the way away from that in PS4 era and has stayed that way. King Webb said they don't want to take the risk. Spartan names Nightmare Creatures, Bouncer, Cloud9. I remember that. Dark Cloud, Medieval. I remember that too. Siphon Filter, of course, and so much more. Yeah, we all agree. They just don't use them. I don't understand why. Pyro says, you know how WWE used to make movies. How would you feel about a Lollipop Chainsaw sequel with Alexa Bliss as Juliet Starling? I'm fine with it. I mean, not a lot to go off of that story anyway, except just being a zombie and her being a little sexy cheerleader or whatever.
Basically, it'd be like Grindhouse, basically.
Pretty much.
So like that's fine. I think she's actually started getting into voice acting, right? Because she voices a character in.
Oh yeah, she does.
In
I forgot what it was, but I did see it.
Sakamoto Days. Yeah.
That's what it was. Sakamoto. You're right. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I've been watching. Have you been watching that?
I haven't. I didn't know it was out, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Animation is really solid. I gotta talk. I do speak on Dan to Dan. I told you I read all the way up to it, like the current
Yeah.
182. Like
Dang.
I actually really enjoy Dan to Dan.
It's a good ass book.
It's good, man. Art is spectacular, by the way.
Yeah.
Soil Tech. Thank you, brother.
You're way ahead of me at this point then.
Oh yeah,
But-
I'm
but
way
yeah.
well beyond. I won't say anything though. I won't spoil it. Soil Tech generously donates a $4.99, $5. Why you just didn't add it one more penny, Soil Tech? Thank you, brother. He drops a $5 donation. He says, please hit the like button. Thank you. Appreciate it. HAH says, Umbra loves reading the thesaurus. That's true. Or the thesaurus, I should say. Thank you, HAH. I do. Then thank you, Soil Tech, for the donation. If anybody does care to, he says, because I'm cheap. No, you're not. Stop it. But if anybody does care to drop any donations for us here, we would appreciate it. Definitely going to use it to try to, I do want us to go big going forward, maybe in the next year, where we can try to use that to do much like, shout out to brother Black Viking and his crew, his brother and family, where they built up a lot to give to the kids at the YMCA. I thought that was beautiful. So I would like to do something like that where we can give back to people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Get donations and subscriptions up to do something like that. What else did we have, Danny? Because I know we got to get moving.
That was all I had for the rundown. The other things were just things. Well, did you want the Avowed reviews here or in the main topics?
You know what? Yeah, we can do the Avowed news. You can start reading while I'll see if I can pull up a screenshot or two of them as well that we can look at and highlight.
Yes. So right now on Metacritic, Avowed is sitting at a 80, which is pretty solid. It was at an 83 earlier, so I guess some other sticks in the mud showed up.
Yeah, I think it was at an 83 initially.
Yeah, that's what I had seen.
Yeah.
So I guess it's dropped a little bit since then.
Mm-hmm.
You know how tax is.
Yep. Tax season. It is literally tax season.
It's about that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, from what I had seen, the things that people are generally talking about is they love the storytelling, they love the visuals. But the only negative that I've been seeing that I saw more than a couple of times was that they thought the combat was a little stiff, which is probably right.
Yeah.
Now some of those people are saying that and giving it a 6, which is insane. But
yeah, I don't. Again, I have only played. It's probably unfair for me to say I don't agree with that. With only having played an hour, roughly 2 hours.
yeah,
really. But I don't see how, from what I've played, and shout out to Lucius, we both had this discussion. This does not feel like a 6 out of 10 game. I'm sure, I got more to go, play that I'm going to be like, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. But a 6 out of 10?
Well, IGN said, with awesome world building and stellar character writing, Avowed reminds me why I fell in love with Obsidian's RPGs in the first place, and then gave it a 7. So
yeah, the flowery words before they do that. Very odd. I don't know. And shout out to Travis. I know that's him that wrote it. I know he's he doesn't grade on the curve. Travis is going to tell you his straight out thoughts, flat out. And I say that having spoke with him on a Infinite podcast at one time. Shout out to Travis. No disrespect. It just seems like that 7 is just accursed when it comes to IGN and Xbox, doesn't it?
Yeah, you just can't get away from it. And then they'll be like, well, that means it's good. And it's like, yeah, but
You know
that
damn
that's
well.
not- well, and because here's the thing that pisses me off the most about it is, and it's not, I got nothing against Travis. I don't even know the guy. If he thinks it's a 7, he thinks it's a 7. It is what it is.
Right.
But the thing that pisses me off, this is a community issue, is that you'll see it get a 7, right? And then and this happens for all kinds of Xbox games. It'll end up in the 80 range, usually low to mid 80s, and then you'll hear people review it and they'll be like, oh my god, it's such a good game, I really love it, oh, but is it the game that's gonna save Xbox? And it's like, why does it need to be the game that saves Xbox? Did you enjoy the game or did you not enjoy the game?
Right.
Why are you grading it and talking about it in this conversation about like, oh, but is it the best game that's ever existed? Like, remember, like the Starfield thing where they were like it's too much like a video game. I wanted it to be like a revolutionary, world-changing thing, and it's like, well, it's not. It's
Yeah, like
Starfield.
why can't you judge the game based off what you get? Like, why does it have to be it didn't meet this random gigantic standard that you placed on it? And it seems to be a case. And I don't want to keep going to tax, but it's like they keep doing that for Xbox releases. Like they keep doing it. It's like you didn't reach this plateau of what we think you should have been in the game we wanted you to be. So now you're punished for it. I don't really get that.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say, 'cause I was watching the Kind of Funny review of it, or from the preview. And it might have been from South of Midnight. I forget exactly what it was. If it was either Avowed or South of Midnight, but they were talking about it recently. And I love Kind of Funny. I really do. I think that they do great work there. Like, they're super cool. But they said something that really pissed me off, which is they were talking about the game and how much they loved. Oh, it was South of Midnight. And they were talking about how much they loved it and how, like, when they got to some of the musical parts, like, it gave them chills and yada yada and all this. And, like, we're talking it up. And the only negative they had is, like, the combat's, like, kind of whatever.
And that was it.
But then somebody asked, well, because they haven't put a review score on it yet, although it's probably going to end up being a 7.
Yeah.
But somebody asked, I think it was Blessing asked, like, but is it what Xbox needs right now? And it's like, why don't we ask that question about anybody else? Why don't we ask that question about
You know what's funny? You know what's unique? That was recently said by Destin Legary when it came to South of Midnight. He said, I don't know who this is for.
Well, you know, it's for me.
Yeah, like,
I can speak to that. I think that game looks dope.
What
as
is with?
hell.
I don't understand this constant. Why is this exist talk? When do you ever see? I don't understand that. This is. It's not like this is like part 16 in a game. You don't even hear them say that about Final Fantasies and Mario's. You don't hear them say, why does this need to exist? But they'll do that for Xbox titles. I don't understand it.
And it's ridiculous because like Xbox is doing pretty damn well right now. Like I know that we like people just want to look at the console sales and be like, oh, Xbox is down. Their financials are up significantly. They're making more money than they've ever made.
Yep.
Their user base is at 500 million people across all platforms, which is insane. Like they're making more video games more consistently than ever, and their games are being reviewed better. I mean, this is sitting at an 8, which is not amazing, but like generally speaking, people are talking about them more and playing them more. Right, like Indiana Jones came out and it was one of the biggest games people talked about. It didn't sell super great, unfortunately.
It didn't sell too great, but it is a great game.
But it's a great game, and you know all of these things are true. The company's doing very well. They seem happy with their numbers. Like, so why do we talk about that? But we don't talk about that with PlayStation, who their numbers are falling. like their financials are doing fine, but then you look at it's like they haven't really put out a game in like 2 years.
They've canceled.
VR just failed. They're canceling games left, right,
titles.
and center.
Yep.
They've done a ton of layoffs, which like Xbox has done layoffs too. But you know, I mean, the whole industry has.
Yep.
But like on paper, you look at all of these things, and I know like the financial number is going up for PlayStation, but it's also going up for Xbox. They just say like, oh, but that doesn't count because Activision.
I don't know why people keep
also
trying
a
to
thing that pisses me
qualify
off.
that. It is very weird.
But like,
it's like they own them now, right? You can't try to try to separate
But
them. It doesn't work that way.
You look at all the data points of like how Xbox is performing in terms of like actually putting out games and actually doing things that people care about versus PlayStation. And it's like, why, if there is anybody who you should be asking this question about, it's PlayStation. When Ghost of Yotei comes out, are they going to be like, but is this a game that makes up for not putting out a video game in 2 years? Because they're not going to say that. They're not going to ask that.
They're not going to say it at all. Exactly.
Is this the video game that makes up for the fact that they closed like 7 studios in the last 4 years?
Right. Or
is this the video game that's going to
games and
lost
the most money ever for an invested game in Concord with 400+ million apparently?
Right.
No,
like is this the video game that's going to make up for the billions upon billions of dollars that they've thrown into live service and gotten nothing out of? Like that's a more fair question, because it's like their financials are going to start falling. Like they already are failing to meet the expectations that they had. They're still rising, but not as much as they wanted. And like that's only going to continue to fall. Like if Ghost of Yotei, I was talking to a friend of mine. Ghost of Yotei, we haven't seen in a long time. It's supposed to come out this year. the only thing we've seen of it is like a cinematic and like 1 second of Eric Ishii talking. I'm excited for this game. I think it's going to be good.
Same.
If we get to June and we haven't seen this game, it's not coming out this year.
No, because you got GTA launching in the fall. No way would they put that near that.
Yeah. So it's like, if there is a company right now that you should be looking at and being like, hey, are y'all okay? It's not the guys who are making 40% more revenue this year than they did last year. It's the guys who are making 10% more but have a lower operating income. Because PlayStation is making more money than they made last year, but they're spending way more. So they're only making a profit of like 7%.
Yeah, 7% margin. That's right.
So it's like, I understand that PlayStation is the zeitgeist and that we don't want to talk bad about that guy. But like, if you care about that guy, you should probably be like, hey man, why is all your hair falling out? Why are your teeth yellow?
Say Sony. I hear you like I hear you like I hear you like 7%.
I hear you like that. Like, it's truly wild to me, because it's like, is this going to be the game that saves Xbox? No, it's not going to be the game that saves Xbox, because you're the person asking it, and for you, nothing's going to save Xbox.
Right. Nothing will be good enough. To go back on this, so we can try to get through this really quick. The Avowed reviews, you see VG 224/7, that's 5 out of 5. Checkpoint Gaming a 9.5 out of 10. This is just some of them, obviously not all. VGC gave it a 4 out of 5. Dextero gave it a 4 out of 5. Eurogamer 4 out of 5. Games Radar 4 out of 5. Screen Rant 9 out of 10. Digital Trends 9 out of 10. Game Liner, Game Reactor, Tech Raptor rather to 9 out of 10. Windows Central 4 out of 5. Just Play It and Pure Xbox 8 out of 10. And that's an 80 out of 83. Of course, they don't show, I think, IGN just yet because they weren't in at this point, but IGN gave it a 7, which weighs heavily, and that's what took the score down.
There were a couple people gave it. Yeah.
A few people gave it
That's
some
the issue
sixes.
with Metacritic,
Yeah.
is that IGN and some of the bigger companies are weighted so much higher than some of the other ones because apparently their opinion matters more. And so that 7 from IGN is actually doing a lot of leg work pulling it down. There are lower reviews. The lowest I can see is a 6, and there's only...
I think it was 2 of them I saw.
5 or 6 of those.
Oh, so they grew. Okay.
I'm on the website now. It looks like the enemy Eurogamer Portugal.
Oh, also
Guardian,
Metro, of course, too, I think, right?
Well,
Metro
of course,
UK,
Metro Game
trash, right?
Yeah. So it's a lot of these like smaller ones. So those ones, even though they're at a 6, probably are pulling it down less than IGN because IGN is weighted so heavily.
IGN is the worst.
It's complicated.
Yeah. IGN and GameSpot. GameSpot, I think, also gave it a 6, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't see them down there, but maybe.
Yeah, GameSpot. If they didn't give it a 7, I think they gave it a 6. I'm pretty sure of it. And they claimed that the writing was terrible. Now I don't believe that because I can't recall a bad writing story should I say inside of any Obsidian game. I just don't believe that. And so far from what I've played, I don't see that or feel that either. Even just from the basic dialogue.
If there's one thing you can always say about Obsidian games is that their writing is pretty damn good. And that even goes to little passion projects like we got with Pentiment. It just they know what they're doing. Josh, of course, is pretty talented, but I don't know. That seems very weird to me, and it seems like you always have these outliers who want to like, oh, look at me, I gave it a 5. Oh, controversy. Like, come to my site. I'm not going to your site. I'm not giving you any clicks. I think you're a fraud, and I hate when I see that. You see it? GameSpot did give it a 6.
Yeah.
But they reviewed it on PC, so it was on a different list. On PC, it has a 79.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Probably because GameSpot gave it a 6.
That sucks.
Let me see if the writing even like backs up what they're saying.
Yeah, they said something about the writing and I think the combat they didn't like or something. And
he's saying the exact opposite of the IGN guy, which I think is funny.
Yeah.
He's saying the combat feels impactful and gives you a lot of options and it's great.
Oh.
But then they say like, but the writing in the world is bad, and it's the exact opposite of what the IGN guy said.
Ain't that something? Inconsistent all around. I don't know, man. I can't disqualify anybody else's thoughts. Yeah. I'll just say from what I've played, I don't see what he's talking about. Combat though, he's in line with me, so whatever. But yeah. But hey, it is what it is. I will say for those listening, give Avowed a try. I think you will like it personally. I enjoyed a lot from what I've played. And I cannot wait to get back into it. If I did not have the podcast tonight, I would have been on that game. I guarantee you that. Let me read a few of the chats here because I saw a few people come through. It says AJH said that he only discovered the other day that Sony is the owner of EverQuest. He said he's baffled they never tried to bring that back. That's a good point. Vinny, what's up, brother? He says, yo. Bushido says, Umbra. He says, I'm acting bad, but somebody got to do it. Turn his TV off, nurse. Turn his TV off. Pyro said he just bought Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza. Yeah, I want to play that too eventually, Pyro. I'm just so far behind in the Yakuza series. I don't want to skip ahead to that.
My issue is there's too many other games coming out right now that I've
got to
play.
Yeah, it's way too many games. And
they gotta play Avowed, and then I think there's and then Monster Hunter is this month too. That's like in a week or two or something.
That looks really
good. I'm gonna
be
busy. I'm gonna be too busy.
Yeah. I want to try to get into Monster Hunter. I did try it with World, but I didn't really give it a full try. But seeing how this one looks, I'm like, this looks damn good.
I really am not like a huge Monster Hunter person, but I have a ton of friends who are really into it, and so then it becomes extra fun because I get to play with people who aren't like huge gamers but really love Monster Hunter, and so it's like, oh, I finally get to like hang out with you guys.
Yeah. I don't know if I've seen him here before, but Dutch says because Xbox is down in the dumps, that's why people are asking these questions, but they're not down in the dumps.
Yeah, they're doing like pretty. I mean,
they're
their
doing
consoles
well.
are down in the dumps for sure. Like,
yeah,
if we're just looking at consoles, sales, yeah, but like their content and services is up, their revenue is up, like they're making more money than ever.
He says it's the only console preparing for death.
I think it's the only console that has a fan base preparing for death, and fan base is not the right word. It's the only console that has an online community rooting for their downfall.
Yeah, that's what it's weird, right? I don't understand.
Yeah,
I keep hearing people like rooting for the downfall. It's like, you all do know there's less competition and going to give you worse experiences on your end, right?
And PlayStation's already acting like there's no competition. That's why they're getting away with all of this nonsense.
And they're charging you more, and you all are falling for it. I think I said it before. I'll say it again. I think our Who brothers are going to be the ones that end up ushering in $80 and $100 games.
Yeah, well, and we'll talk about it more with the State of Play thing, but like they just announced a Days Gone remake, and they told their devs and us that wasn't a game that was good enough to bother getting a sequel or bother letting the studio continue to make video games because they've been as a support studio for a while. And now they're like, oh, but buy it again for $70. It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Right.
You told me that it wasn't worth $70. Actually, you told me it wasn't worth $60.
Right, and now you want to give us a remaster? And it just keeps feeding it keeps feeding into the whole stereotype with PlayStation 2. It's like, oh, here, have another remaster. They do it all the time.
Right. I'm just glad it wasn't Last of Us again. Can you imagine?
Yeah. I would have.
They're gonna put out the director's cut of the TV show at this point.
Yeah. That would be funny. Actually,
I should probably watch that. Unfortunately,
that would be funny. Here's the director cut of episode 3, now with full 6 scenes of season 1.
I don't know that there's a sex scene in season 1 that I would have wanted to see.
Yeah.
Most of them were pretty gross.
Yeah. What else? Who said anything else? I just looked at it. Hold on. Dutch. Okay, Dutch does come back to say he's Xbox is doing well. He says the consoles are not. Okay, fair enough. I think we agree there. And AJH, you're right. I don't much care for him, being honest. He says Blessing is a legit shield. He always gives backhanded compliments to Xbox while shielding for PlayStation. He does it all the time, brother. I do not.
I will say,
care for him that much.
I still he does do that. I still really like him. I think he's a lot of fun. It's one of those things. Okay, so like Greg Miller, I love him. I think he's great. I think he's really funny. I have never agreed with a single opinion that man has had. Not a single time. He'll talk about a game, and he'll like all the words that he's saying are like, yeah, I agree with that, and then he'll give it the score, and I'm like, what are you talking? What did you what? The only time where like that I can think of in recent memory where he was just like so far off was the Indiana Jones one, and I think even him and Paris have like admitted that they were like so far the outlier on that one.
Yeah.
So
he did have the Starfield
really like
opinion
them.
though.
I just
to be fair,
don't agree with them. He did. He liked Starfield more than most people.
So to his credit, there you might agree with him, I guess.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Because they are absolutely guilty of doing the like, but is this the thing that's going to save Xbox? Is this the big win that they need? And it's like, they're doing fine. Is it a game that you like, or is it not a game that you like? Like, that's really the only thing that matters here. So I don't know. But I like them. I watch their content. I think they're entertaining and fun. I just don't agree with them a lot, which I think is fine.
Yeah, that's. I mean, listen, it's fine to not agree. We don't always have to agree, and I mean, you're open to being disagreeable while hearing them
Yeah,
out.
as long as they're not like, if they start giving like me shit for having a different opinion than them, then fuck them. But
Right.
until then, what? It's fine. It's a video game. We don't have to both like it.
That's true. That's true.
That's fine.
Gen X Gamer, what's up, brother? He says that it's the IGN infection. All of them are idiots when the Xbox logo shows up. I don't know. You might have something there, Gen X. I don't know.
It does feel that way sometimes. I'll be honest.
Sometimes we had a running joke going on in the circles that I'm in, and we were like, if they would have announced that Avowed was going to PlayStation as well as Xbox before it released, and then it probably would have got a good, really high score. And I almost feel like if and when this thing ever goes over there, it's probably going to score better on PlayStation. Watch what I say.
I think it's wild that they would like review it again when it goes to PlayStation, but they probably would.
I bet they will.
They'll be like, oh,
the added DualSense controller.
Oh, now that the DualSense could tickle my balls, I'll give it a 9.
All right, and I can blow into it and cast spells.
That's what Avowed was missing, was the ability to cast my spells by blowing my mind.
Right. Pyro says that IGN but 7 is good, but please ignore that we also give Team Kill, Shovelware, Asset Flip Games, Quantum Era, Code Violet a 7 because they're exclusive to PS5. Yeah, it's very weird. It's not consistent.
If you look at IGN's review score, like their review breakdown of like what each number means, it's totally fair. Like it's quite frankly, it's the one that I use for Ready Set Replay, because if you actually look at it and actually use it for what the words say that they mean, perfectly great scale, totally works, and you're going to end up giving more 7s because 7 just means good. But in the reality that they've created by inflating the scores of all of these other games that should be much lower by like pretty much anybody else's standards, 7 no longer means good. It's the
Not
difference
anymore.
between it's the difference between connotation and denotation. Denotation is what is written. What is written says it's good, but the connotation is because you've given the same score to a lot of other games that are objectively bad. That 7 does not mean good anymore.
It means less. Yep, and it's why
you have devalued your 7.
You've devalued their 7. That's true, and it's like I said when I learned that not all 9s are created equal. When I was talking about Astro Bot, how I viewed it versus say Black Myth, they're not the same 9 to me. Astro Bot is not as good as Black Myth or Metaphor. I think it was I compared it to. Metaphor is superior in as far as a game. It's not. It doesn't have the gamification of an Astro Bot, but it's just a superior product. And so those 9s are not equal. And so I get that now. And I remember asking somebody about that, a reviewer, and they were like, "Well, I forgot who it was. Somebody we brought on Infinite." I said, "Well, how did you come to this score for this? But then on that you gave it the same score." And he was like, "Well, they're not. They're different. You have to judge it based off what that game offers you." And at first I was like, "Huh?" And now I get it now. It still can be a 9 within the field of what that game is.
Yeah.
It's just not the same comparable 9 to that. And it's the same thing here with IGN. Their 7 is no longer the 7 they think it is. Nobody looks at their 7 as a 7 as good. They look at their 7 as bad.
Yeah. Well, because I think what you're looking at there,
or below average.
When you say like this 9 is not the same as this 9, I think what you're getting at is sort of the combination of like the rules is written, this is what the review score is, versus like what your personal feeling is on it. Because it's like, if I prefer shooters over RPGs, but I can acknowledge that this is as good a shooter as that is as an RPG, like they both are as good at doing the things that they're trying to do in those two different categories, then I'll give them both a 9, but I prefer the shooter, so that 9 means more to me, right? And I think that's totally fair, because if you're a professional reviewer, which like God knows I'm not, but like if you're a professional reviewer, like you should be able to take that objective stance and be like, how successful is it at doing what it wants to do, right? If you're a bigger company like IGN or something, you probably have people who actually like the types of games that they're reviewing doing the reviews, hopefully, at least most of the time.
Right.
But if you're on a smaller thing, like, for me and Ready Set Replay, then there is a certain amount of it of like we just did Mario Party. It's going to go up in a couple weeks. And I don't like the Mario Party style, but it's very good at what it is trying to do. So I ended up giving it a higher review score than I personally felt about it, because it's like it is extremely good at doing the thing that I don't like doing.
And that's fair, because you're looking past your own biases and saying, I don't care for this thing, but does it do a good job at that thing? It does. And that's fair. That's the way it should be. Some people don't look at it like that. They'll say, hey, I don't like this type of game. I remember literally somebody saying, I don't like these types of games. Let me review that game. It's like, why?
Yeah, why would you want to?
Yeah, why would you even want to do it? Because now you're going to come in with bad energy, and that game is not going to get a fair score. And that ends up being the case a lot of times. I would prefer somebody, and I know the argument could be, well, it's even better if they don't like the game and they come with a good score. Okay, but what about it when they don't like it? But what about when they don't and they use it negatively against the game too? I'd just rather have somebody who is okay with that type of game. Like, I don't want to be forced to play RTSs. I don't know a damn thing about them. And I can imagine my time would not go well and that game is going to get a bad score because of it. You know what I mean? So that's whatever though. But anyway, let's move to the we'll skip ahead to, if you could pull up a list on your end, Danny, and I'm going to pull up on my end, and we can kind of name out some games that we saw to skip ahead.
Oh, from the state of play?
Yeah, because we have about 30 minutes left if we go into 9.
Sure.
And,
I've actually already wrote out the list of the ones that I care about. It's not super
perfect.
long. I've got, it looks like 6. So.
Okay. So the first one I'll play on my end then, which is Shinobi.
Okay, see, and I knew that would be one for you. I looked at it and I was like, what is this?
Man. Well, this was one of the stars of the show for me. It looks so well done. This is done by team what's their name? Lizard Cube, who did the Streets of Rage games. If you all have not.
You are not allowed. You are not allowed to be like, David Corn Sweat is a bad name, and then be like, Lizard Cube. Hell no.
Yeah. It is a stupid name for a team. I don't care for it, but they make some quality games. And they are single-handedly, them and Delilah Studio are single-handedly, those two teams are single-handedly bringing back these 80s and 90s games to the forefront.
Is Delilah the one who's doing the Ninja Gaiden one that looks like this?
I believe so. I believe they are. Let me make sure of it.
Because when this first came up, I thought it was that, to be fair.
I did too for a minute. I was like, I even said it while I was watching it in a watch party. I'm like, oops, why did I say that? He has white on.
Yeah, that's a different guy.
Yeah. What's the name of the new one? It's Ninja Gaiden.
It's like Rage something.
Yeah, Rage Bound. Yeah, which I cannot wait for as well.
Yeah, these are very much you sort of games. I look at these and I'm like, for me, the Metroidvania style, it's not bad. I don't dislike it, but I feel like it needs to be like really special for me to care about it. Because like Hollow Knight is one of my favorite games of all time. Ori, I love.
Yep.
But I feel like those are like elevations above the style, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, I also just don't play a lot of them because I typically don't enjoy them. So I don't have like the best catalog of which ones are good.
Okay, so it's .emu, DOTEMU, .emu, or Dotemu. I'm not sure. I think it's .emu, but it could be Dotemu. Are the ones doing it. I forgot about them. So you got Dotemu, you have Lizard Cube, and you have Delilah. Those are like 3 main ones that's kind of rejuvenating the old school games. They're the one doing Ninja Gaiden Rage Bound, which looks damn good. I thought the artistic style of the Shinobi game here looks really cool. Like seeing how he uses the Nimpo, the ninja arts and stuff like that. It just looks really dope. Look at it, has this painterly Okami style to it. You see how it looks?
That's definitely cool. I like that.
Ink blot style. It just looks really dope. Clearly you have different attacks you can do, combos. It's got platforming. It just looks like it'll be one fun game. Really, really fun. So what would be one of the games for you, your standouts?
Standout for me, there's 2 that for me are like cool, great, like ones that I know I'm for sure gonna play, and then there's a couple that are just like I will probably play that if I can.
Yeah.
But the number one for me is the Liza P DLC Overture.
Let me skip ahead.
Because I loved Liza P. That game was dope. This trailer like didn't really do a ton for me to like hype me up for it because I was already pretty hyped for it, to be fair. And it's also like kind of weird because I don't want to give spoilers, but there's a credit scene after Liza P that like hints at what the DLC is going to be, and this doesn't feel like it connects to that. So I don't know. It's the first look, so obviously we're going to get a lot more to like explain what's going on. But there's like one line in it where the person is like talking about a girl, and if that's the girl from the credit scene, then like maybe. But that's the only connection I could even find. So I don't know. I don't know. But it's gonna be good because the whole Liza P is like, I've said this before, and I'll say it until it stops being true. Liza P is the best Souls game not made by FromSoft.
I've heard other people say that, like that
Yeah.
it doesn't get the love that it deserves. I'm gonna pull up the trailers independently because I'm having trouble finding this dang thing. Let me just look it up. But yeah, I've heard nothing but positives, and I feel salty that I did not play this game yet, Liza P. But I've heard nothing but positives about it.
It's really good. I will say the last boss fight is rough. It's rough. Yeah. It took me a long time. But once you like start figuring out the mechanic, because the problem for me was I don't like parrying in video games, and this is the one that like forced me to do it anyway. And once you get good at it, it's like, okay, actually, I kind of like this a lot.
I remember when this was shown, some people were like, I wonder if PlayStation is going to have exclusivity for this. I'm like, that would be a slap to the face.
For a DLC?
Yeah.
Why bother?
Right. Also, it would be a slap to the face for Xbox to have, essentially help them with part one.
They're bleeding money like crazy. I don't think that it's a good idea for them to spend money on basically unless it's like something really big, like, or something that's actually going to make a difference for them. I don't think it's a good idea for them to buy up a third-party exclusivity from pretty much anything at this point.
Yeah, I guess the only one that
they
was
need
really
to focus on getting their own stuff out there.
True. I mean, if it was like a Grand Theft Auto, then yeah, they got to go for it.
Yeah, but I don't even know if they can afford that.
You're right. I don't think they can.
Grand Theft Auto is so big that they didn't even like. They don't. People were like, oh, they're gonna have a commercial at the Super Bowl, and it's like they don't need to.
Yeah, they really don't.
If they put it out on a random Tuesday in March, that's the new Super Bowl.
As big as the Super Bowl. Yep. No, this looks damn good. I didn't play part one, so I can't really say. But does this look like they've improved on different attacks you can do and things like that? Because I see him do this move right here, but he's zipping around anime style, just slashing this dude up. I'm like, that looks so damn cool.
Yeah. So stuff like that existed in the first game to an extent. I think that one's new because I definitely didn't do it.
Yeah.
But there were things like that, and they would just be your like finishing moves. Like, did you ever play Bloodborne?
Yeah.
So you know how like when you down somebody with you stunned them, you could go up and do like a finishing move.
Right.
Liza P has that, but depending on like certain weapon combinations that you have, some of them do like crazy shit like that. So that fits into what I would expect, but it looks really cool. So
okay, yeah. Now, super impressed by this. It's a shame though, man, because I mean we keep saying it, but there are so many other games that I have to get to. I just won't have the time to do.
I still haven't gone back from Metaphor, and I don't know when I'm going to find time.
Yeah, I finished Metaphor, but I do want to get the rest of the achievements. I'm being greedy. So let me think of what was another game that I saw that I liked a lot. I will pull that up now, actually. Hold on. I'm sure you probably had this on your list, but I'm definitely stealing this from you if you did.
Okay.
Let's see. It's full screen.
What are we doing?
Tides of Annihilation.
No, yeah, that one actually was not on my list.
No, okay. This one looks so dope to me. Yeah, I'm big on action games like this. This has a Devil May Cry-esque combat. I love the look of the main character. She looks cool as hell. I love the armor that forms around her. It's made by a team we've never heard of, Eclipse Glow, that they just showed. I think this is also the team in Neowitz or whatever, owned by the same company that did Liza P. I think. I'm almost
maybe
certain.
I am. If it is the Liza P people, then maybe I do care.
I think that's what I saw. It's interesting because you see like the cutscenes and stuff look nice. It has this part where she's scaling around and traversing, doing a little platforming. I'm not sure how all that works out. 2D-esque sections, Tides of Annihilation. And then you see this, and I read up a bit synopsis. You're gonna have 30 plus bosses to fight. You get to use that you just saw there. She gets to use these knights because it's set in a kind of a fantasy. It's in a New England or British / medieval fantasy crossover fusion.
It says that it is inspired by Arthurian legend.
Yeah, and it's like the Knights of the Round Table that she gets to cast and use as her warriors to fight, and it's just really dope. Right, and it just looks really, really dope. I don't know. Visually, it's gorgeous. Artistically, it's very nice, and it seems to have a nice combat system. I'm heavily invested. This was, to me, was the star of the show for me. Shinobi was just after this one, and as you can see, it's on all platforms. So I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is PlayStation and PC." Nope.
No, it's coming to Xbox. Yeah, I just checked that myself.
Yeah. So
I can't confirm whether or not it was made by the same people as Liza P, but I don't know. Maybe I am excited for it. The only reason I wasn't excited for it is because at first it started and I was like, "Oh, is it Expedition 33?" And then it wasn't, and I was like, "Oh, is it just like an action game?" Okay, well, I'll wait until we see what it is.
Yeah, indeed. He said, "I'm a soul man." I'm a soul man. What's up, brother? Gamers Unfiltered. New name change right there. Shout out to you, brother. You know who you are. What was yours, Danny? What's another one for you?
This is a weird one, but I actually am kind of hyped for Digimon Story Time Stranger. Because those Digimon games are underrated.
So
they're not like amazing, but they're underrated for sure.
That one was interesting to see. I'll say that because I didn't have any idea that was it. Yeah,
the way they're talking about it, I was like, I don't know. This sounds like some nerd shit, and I was like, but I'm nerd shit.
Hey, there you
perfect.
Go. Digimon, Digital monsters. Digimon are the champions.
This is in the same like series of games, I guess, as Digimon Cyber Sleuth and like those ones. And those games are really good. Like there was a while there where me and a friend of mine, Christian, were just talking about like, it's crazy how the Digimon games are just like way better than the Pokemon games at this point.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I've never played any Digimon game.
I would give it a shot. Maybe don't start with this one because I don't know for sure if it's going to be good. But go back and play like Cyber Sleuth. That one's really good.
Okay. I just remember like, I did always like the theme, but I always laughed thinking about the animals or the Digimon. Some of their names were hilarious to me.
Oh, they were really bad.
Yeah, and they'd be like, Mega Agurumon. I'm like, who?
You're talking about Mega Garurumon.
See, then you got.
And unfortunately, I know exactly which one that is.
See, yeah. So it's like all these weird names for them. I was like, why do they have all these names? Here is Pet Parrotmon, or here is I don't know. What was another one that I remember? Angemon.
There was one that was Some of them are like ridiculous words, and then other ones are like Angemon.
Yeah, like Angemon.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah,
no, I gotta understand this one.
I'll let you pick another one, then I'll pick one after you.
All right. The other one I had was, and I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on this one, but the Dark Pictures anthology game, Directive 8020.
Oh,
I think looks interesting. The Dark Pictures games have been like kind of hit and miss, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
they
have. This one, however, I am interested in this one too. So I'm with.
This
you.
is one that I'm like, I'm kind of trepidatious about, because I really love The Quarry. I love Until Dawn, and I really love From Ash. I think.
From Ash.
Is that what it's called? The one where it's like vampires. Those three are like the best ones.
Okay.
But this one, I don't know. Something about this one is feeling very Man of Medan, but in space to me. And if that's the case, then it's like it'll probably be fine. But I don't know, I'm gonna end up playing it regardless because I play all these games, because I enjoy playing them on Halloween usually.
I'm a chicken, so I'm not trying to play these scary ass games.
They're not typically that scary.
Yeah.
I
did
think
watch.
it's really
I
good.
did watch the Quarry playthrough on.
Okay.
People play it. I did watch that. I was
That might be the
invested.
scarier one, to be honest.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was good. I was watching them constantly make bad choices. I'm like, no, don't choose that option.
Why are you doing all that?
Right.
Stop.
Stereotypical black
Yeah.
man in the theater.
Oh,
Stop. Hey, girl, don't go that way. That was me. And
why are you doing all that?
right. But I see they have Lashana Lynch up in here, she's a great actress too.
From I only know her from like Marvel.
That's what I first saw her in, is Miss Marvel, the first movie, and then I saw her in a few others after that. To shout out to Kay, because he mentioned, that they wanted her to be 007, and I'm like, and I can only imagine the anti-DEI crowd if she would have been cast.
007?
Oh,
That's awesome.
yeah.
The only other person I had heard that was like in the running to be 007 were Idris Elba and Henry Cavill, and I'd be fine with either of those.
I would too, actually. Either one of those would be good. I think Henry, I remember him. They did it. They showed a screen test he did for it, because he did try to. I almost said apply, like he's. Let me put out this application, but he did try to cast as Bond some years back. I think during Casino Royale era. So before Daniel Craig got the part, I think, and I can see why they didn't give it to him there. He just looked like a young pretty boy. He didn't look like a seasoned Bond at that point. Yeah,
That's fair.
Yeah. So, but I mean, hey, but no, I can actually definitely see either of them as James Bond. I just know some people are not going to accept it if it's a black Bond. I'm not exactly mad at them for it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I get it. You know what I mean? And I say that only because some people have the bad intentions of, you're blackwashing, as they would say, right? Some idiots. But I do understand not changing the character, because I'm a stickler for canon. So when it comes to the comics and stuff, I don't want swaps and stuff like that's.
But I thought Bond was just like a moniker
It
that got
is.
passed down from people. Well, it could be a black guy.
He could, yeah, he could definitely, because it's just a designation, right? I think he's
just,
designated James or 007 because he's deadly and he's allowed to kill indiscriminately, really, with impunity, I guess I should say. So this was another good one here. So I guess Sony is actually funding this one. So this is technically likely going to be exclusive to PlayStation. And this is Saros.
So, well, they own the studio, so.
Do they own them? Housemark?
Yeah, they bought Housemark a while ago.
Oh, that's right. They did, didn't they? They sure did. After the release of
Returnal.
Returnal, that's
which
right.
I didn't care for, and that's a large reason why I'm not excited or really interested in all of this.
This actually looks, and people keep saying in the circles I'm in. Shout out to Major. I think this is also, it feels like some type of sequel or spiritual successor, at least, to Returnal in a way. Like when right? Like when I'm.
Because there's that bit. It's all CG, but there's that bit where you like see the
With
shots
the
coming at
arms,
him, and it's very like
spirally. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly where my mind went. By the way, so Saros, I looked it up, and we see the sun there being obscured by eclipse, and I thought. The first thought I had was, actually I had two thoughts. One was, is that a black hole? And then I said, you know what? Berserk. It makes me think of the Berserk scene. It would be,
you're definitely right.
All right. And then the little creepy arms and all that didn't help. But I've been told by shout out to K Asante. He said he would actually go as far as to actually buy me Returnal to play it because he's so confident that I'll like it.
Oh, I'm not. I think it's pretty bad, actually.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't like it because everybody else seems to enjoy it. I don't know.
It's the story is bad. The gameplay is fine.
Yeah.
I just don't care for the character, and the writing was like, yeah, I figured this out 6 hours ago.
Oh, it's one of those types, huh? Where it thinks it's more clever than it is.
And then because of they were like leaning really hard into the haptic feedback on the controller for that one.
Yeah.
And they were like, you can feel the rain in the controller, and you can't. But what that does mean for stupid people is that the controller just vibrates the whole time, forever. The whole time you're playing it, it's just
it's just constant. Oh, that's why you didn't really, because I know you don't care for it.
It was one of the games that made me
not like the
never
dual
want to
sense.
touch that controller again in my life.
That's what did it. Okay, I see now. Yeah, because I know you don't care for the dual sense.
No, I hate
and those
it.
at least the motors that for the haptics, right?
It's just too much.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like anything. Like whenever people tell me, they're like, "Oh, you can really feel the whatever in the controller." No, you can't. It's just vibrating, dude.
You can
What are you
feel the
talking about?
vibrations. I would say Astro Bot did a good job with it though.
It did as good a job as you can do, which is still kind of nothing. But
you weren't accepting it. You just
it's
refused.
like, well, because they do the okay, because it's just a trick, right? And like I get that works for some people.
Yeah.
But like the best example of it actually working to some extent is in Astro Bot, where it's like, oh, when you walk on hard surfaces, the vibration is really like short and staccato. It's like zzz, 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 for every step. Whereas when you walk on something soft like sand, it's longer and drawn out because you're like sinking into it. It's like zzz, zzz. Are the noises helping?
Yeah, the noises are helping.
Or
actually.
are they just awful?
No, I actually get a good sense of what you're trying to convey.
Okay, good. So that works in that case. But then they're like, this is a brand new technology. And I'm like, no, it's not. The Xbox One controller did this exact thing for Forza 10 years ago.
Listen, this is going to sound hilarious. It probably stupid because I was being an ass a little bit. But I was on that trash site Reset Era years ago when that was the first talks of the DualSense came up, and they were hyping it up and look at the haptics and look at this. And I said, and they were describing what it does, and I'm like, but Forza did that. And they were like, no, it didn't. You bot, shut up. You're trying to console war, and they got me banned off Reset Era.
That was the whole selling point of that controller.
I got
banned.
People
just didn't talk about it.
I got banned. They claimed I was console warring because I claimed that it was the same kind of thing, essentially, with what Forza they did with Forza. Playground did with Forza, or Turn 10 had done with Forza. Should I say?
The only thing that's different is that for Forza and the original Xbox One controller rather, is that it was only like in the triggers, whereas this is like in the entire controller. And so if you want to argue like, oh, they did that technology but more, then like sure, but to what point?
Right.
For who?
To what? I mean? Who's this for? Right? No, go on. Definitely, Gary.
Because like most of the people who I talk to in the real world about it are either like, oh, I didn't notice that, or I turned it off. Like those are the two I get. I never get like, when I was playing as Spider-Man, I could feel the web in my hand. But you read an IGN review, and that's what it says, and you're like, no, you can't. What the hell are you talking about?
When I played as Miles Morales with the DualSense, I could feel the swagger of a 16-year-old black man, black child in this case, teenager. It was magnificent.
It just drives me wild that people like throw in this like super lofty conversation about like the controller vibrates. Because most of the time, all it does is it vibrates like normal, like a normal controller, but then it also has the speaker in it, so it plays a little sound. And then people get tricked, and they're like, "Oh, this vibration is from this sound."
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
Okay, like I understand that works on stupid people, but like for me, all it is my controller won't shut up, and also won't stop vibrating. So all you've done,
Daniel J. McGee's views are not the views of the Hicks.
You've created like whatever the opposite of a fidget toy is, where you're like, oh, this helps. Like the fidget toys are relaxing and help people focus. Every time I'm playing a game on the DualSense controller and it's doing that, I'm like, just stop. Like why do you need my attention right now? I'm playing a game.
You're like, leave me alone. Damn. So let me read a few of these chats. Gamers Unfiltered. He says State of Play was, in my opinion, decent. 7.5 just from the game shown off. I didn't have any expectations going in, but there were some nice games. He says he only wanted Idris as the next Bond. He is British, and the character is British. And at the end of the day, James Bond is just a code name like 007 number. Yep. Soiltech said License to Kill. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, it was License to Kill. With impunity. So it's the same, pretty much. 007 is the designation, Pyro says, but James Bond is a person's name and character actual name. I thought Bond was also a code name given to the person, too, the operative, I thought.
I mean, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to look up
I
some
haven't read the deep
Roddenberry.
lore.
Yeah. Gamers Unfiltered says, so in my opinion, color shouldn't be coming to it for James Bond. Anyone can play that character. But keeping the character British, I think, is the must because the character has always been British. Sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. I think you gotta be British. So.
Good vibrations. I thought you were doing that. It's such a good vibration. You don't know nothing about that, Danny. It's too much before your time.
Yeah, I've never heard that extremely popular and famous song. You're right.
Come on. All right. Marky Mark and the Wild Bunch. Okay, so what else did we have? We had okay, so I picked Saros. Did you have any other one that you wanted to highlight?
I had one, but I don't think I'm gonna end up playing it. But you already did. Is Warriors Abyss?
Yes, I did.
Because I was like, I'm a really big fan of the Warriors franchise in general. 9 was bad, and Origins I played the beta or demo, whatever of, and it just didn't work for me. The changes I didn't enjoy. And I looked at this and I was like, is that a mobile game? They're like, nah, you can play it on your console. And I was like, it still looks like a mobile game. I don't know if I want to do that.
It does kind of look mobile-y, now that you say that.
So I don't know. Is it like, because I saw you online, you're playing it. Is it at least like really cheap? Is it like $10?
It's like $20.
It's not bad.
Yeah, like $24, I think it was, which is not bad. I mean, I can justify that. And you can see from the gameplay, it does have the warrior spirit essentially, where you're going through taking out thousands of NPCs and such. But it's a roguelike, or light, should I say. So essentially you're going through as you would in a Hades type game or something like that. This is far easier than Hades. I will tell you that right off the start. Far easier. Except for that boss right there on the screen. He did exactly that to me. What he just did? He did that exactly to me. Each time I got to him, I was like doing my moves, doing those specials, all the different characters, just like that, where all of them pop on the screen. And then he jumped in the air and smashed me every time with his belly and killed me one hit every time. That was the only character that gave me any challenge. Other than that, and he's like the dungeon boss for that level until you go to the next level. I think it's 4 different levels you can go to. I do like the special effects when you do like all your combined attacks. It is really dope. And you got so many different characters you can unlock from the series of the, from the
I was actually trying to see those characters because they popped up for a second, so I'm gonna try and pause on them.
Let me see if I can replay it.
Because it's fine. I just backed it on my own.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to.
You got the typical romance of the Three Kingdoms characters.
Yeah, because I'm just curious about the designs because I saw it's the Dynasty Warriors characters and the Samurai Warriors characters.
Right.
But the designs are strange. Like that's Guan Yu from like Dynasty Warriors 4. But that's Liu Bei from like Dynasty Warriors 8.
You know what?
Which is weird. And like that Zhuge Liang is like way younger than I would have expected from either of those two games. And then I thought I saw Nobunaga at one point, and he looked like he was like Samurai Warriors 1 Nobunaga.
You might be right.
And not like Samurai Warriors 5 Nobunaga. Or Samurai Warriors 5.
So
But yeah, that's original Mitsuhide. That's not new Mitsuhide.
Yeah. So what I did notice is that. By the way, I didn't care for that part. By the way, let me show you this. Are you up to current time on your watch?
Yeah, let me go back to live.
This character here. That's
that girl.
Looks like a girl, right? No, it's a boy.
Is she? All of the like spin-off Warriors games have like a new deity where it's like this is the one who's a problem now, or it's like in the Orochi games it's like it's Orochi and then it's Daji and then it's
so you already understand what they were doing. So this is a god of the underworld. I forgot the name. It's a famous name too. I cannot think of it. But this is a boy, 100 years old, Why did
Yeah.
they give him the lolly look? I'm like, why?
You know, he's an anime boy.
It's
He's a little Shota boy.
And he definitely is like a little twink or whatever. Because like he looks, I'm like, why is he like feet look like a little girl? Like, why? What's going on here? What are y'all trying to pull here, eh?
They said we want him to be cute though.
Right. He's like, still cute though.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that part, but it's whatever. I just found it funny. I'm like, because at first I'm like, oh, this cute girl who I'm gonna help at the rescue or something. And then he started talking. I'm a boy.
I'm like,
what
you're
the
bad guy actually?
Right. You fooled me. Oh, the deception. But
his machinations lie undetected for years.
Right. But no, this you were right as far as the different versions of the characters they'll use. And
can you get like the different are there like 3 Cao or something? Like,
from what I understand,
is there a gotcha aspect to this?
It seems to be
money in to unlock more people.
What you do is you like create bonds with them and unlock them, and you have to earn I forgot what they call it, like this blue essence that you unlock and use to buy more characters. And they have a bunch of costumes. They have a bunch of costume packs too. So that's what I was going to say. They probably have different ones for different generations that has older versions of the characters like you were talking about, or younger.
I don't think anyone's enough of a dumbass warrior sicko as me to like know or care.
Somebody out there cares. Watch, I bet somebody out there cares. By the way, is this Chow Chow here?
Who?
Or is that Nobunaga right here?
With the really high collar? That's
Nobunaga. That's Nobunaga. Why does he always have that insane eyeball look? Like
he's the Demon King, you know?
You're right. He has to be the bad guy. Yeah,
he's gotta be crazy. They made him like kind of sexy in the new one, and I was like, I mean, okay,
yeah, hey,
it's not my Nobunaga, but that's fine.
Yeah, you know, hey, he's bringing sexy back.
Yeah,
to the three kingdoms. I don't know, chat family. I don't know if I have asked you guys. What's your guys' thoughts? What was like your top 3 games of the show? Everybody in the chat. What was your top 3 games shown, should I say, in the show? Okay, so you got Warriors Abyss, and I had Shinobi, I had Tides of Annihilation. Onimusha, we've seen Onimusha, so I can't use that. Although it looks really good. And
that's kind of how I was with like, because they started with Monster Hunter, and I was like, well, I'm excited for Monster Hunter, but I didn't really get anything from this trailer, you know?
Also, too, it was like, I did like, though, that we found out it was the legendary samurai / sword maker, Mashimoto, or Musashi, should I say?
Okay.
Musashi. I did like that. I thought that was pretty cool. Here we go. I found it. This I'm weary of, but it was cool to see him return for a game. And you know, if you played, anybody who's played the Mafia series and Mafia 3 will know this guy is Lincoln Clay. So he was Lincoln Clay. He was buffer then. He looks really slim.
Oh, it's the same actor.
Same actor, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna be like, this is Mafia?
Yeah.
How does this get to the Mafia world? He was in like the 50s or something.
Right. And here he gave him the Rico, I called it the Rico Suave hair. I don't know why he had that right here. He just looks so awkward with it. But
yeah.
Because I'm just used to seeing him with a shorter cut. Just looks awkward. Also, he's so slim now. He was a buff dude when he played Lincoln Clay. So it's funny. This was a big game for a lot of people who watched it. They thought this was their game of the show. I didn't think it was my game of the show for me.
I don't know. I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that looks like 40 other games that I've seen announced in the last year, and I'm not gonna remember when it comes out.
It felt like, I don't know how to describe it, but it feels like it's going to end up being too good to be true. Like the visuals and everything look like it might be pretty solid. But I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at these robots running, and it does not look that great. I was gonna say that it might be like a lie.
I think
See,
it might be one of those games that's a lie.
that's kind of how I felt, but I think I do believe though the director is the director of Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, really?
So once I saw that, I was kind of like, maybe it might be all right. It might be all right. But yeah, that's my general feeling is this does have a too good to be true feel about it. It feels unpolished and unfinished in certain areas and ways they're showing it. The car,
what's the game called?
Mind's Eye.
Mind's Eye.
Yeah. I don't know. Chat family, what's your guys' thoughts about this? And again, what was your biggest, three biggest games for you for the show? This was not my biggest. I'll keep an eye out for it. I just wasn't blown away by it. It's somewhere, but we'll see. Maybe I could turn out to be wrong. You know, I could turn out to be wrong. I'm open for that. So we'll see. But yeah. Let me see if anybody posted any thoughts.
Gamers Unfiltered says Tides of Annihilation, Lost Soulside, and Mind's Eye were my top 3.
Oh, Lost Soulside looked pretty decent too. I'm not too sure how it's going to play all the way.
Yeah.
And that's it. Soil Tech. Yeah, Miyamoto. So Musashi Miyamoto. But I do think Lost Soulside. That's been a long time coming. By the way, they've been trying to get that game
that one's
for
been
a while. Yeah. AJH said people been sleeping on Midnight Walk and its next Callisto. And Callisto Protocol I wasn't a fan of, if that's what you mean, AJH. He said the next
Callisto. Yeah, I don't think you want to be the next Callisto
Protocol.
I don't think that's a compliment.
That's not a compliment for me. I did not like Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, I think Midnight Walk looks pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that throws me off is they're like VR, and I go, okay, well,
that's what it was for me. It's like, it looks cool.
Yeah, I was like,
it's like VR. I'm like, that's not happening then. Yeah, I just have no interest in VR. I don't think there's any other game I can think of to highlight. So I guess I'll just skip ahead then and ask, what was your overall score that you would give this? And guys in the chat, feel free to give your scores too. I saw yours already unfiltered. You said a 7.5.
That's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough. I don't know. Should I do like the IGN thing and be like, is this the showcase the PlayStation needed?
Who was this for?
Who is this for? I don't know. It's interesting. I'll say that. I don't think it's great. I think it's probably like a 7 or a 6.5. I'm like in that ballpark where like it was decent. There were games in it that I care about, but a lot of the ones that I saw that I care about, like I didn't see anything new or interesting from. You know, like Borderlands 4 was there, and I was like, okay, this doesn't tell me anything. But they're like, we're doing another direct. Okay, that's my least favorite kind of announcement is the announcement that there's going to be an announcement later. And then like same thing for Monster Hunter and a couple other games. I was like, yeah, this tells me nothing. Cool, great. But there's a couple of games in there where I'm like, I'm interested in them. I think the only one that I'm like for sure super excited for is Lies of P's DLC, but that trailer also told me nothing. So I'm like kind of waiting for real information about what that is or what that looks like. I know we literally saw gameplay of it, but I was like, yeah, and I was like, I don't know, like I don't understand what the like story here is or like what's going on. So yeah, I think I'll settle it like a 7. I think that sounds about right.
Okay.
There is an aspect of it though where, you know, to pull the IGN card, like this isn't the showcase the PlayStation needs right now. Like they showed one first-party game and it looks mediocre. It's a sequel to a game that was ass, and it's like, or a spiritual successor to a game that was ass. And it's like they're saying it's going to come out next year, but at this point, like I don't trust them on that. I don't know if Ghost of Yotei for sure is coming out this year. You know, like I don't know. It's like for PlayStation right now, what they need is to say like, here are our first party games. This is what we're going to do with them. These are the ones that are coming out this year. These are the ones that are coming out next year. Right? Or like, this is our plan at least. Because if what we're getting for the rest of the generation from PlayStation is like one game a year, that's not going to cut it. Even if it's a really good game, one game a year, this would be the worst PlayStation generation.
Yeah.
Like, period. The end.
and that's I had a talk about this with some guys, and I said, what if it's kind of like a Trojan horse situation where Xbox is providing all their first party games over to PlayStation, and because Sony has this drought of first party, and they'll only likely get a game or two out a year for first party.
Yeah,
That-
I mean, if we don't count MLB The Show, it's gonna be one game a year.
Yeah, and the Xbox games start to take hold on PlayStation gamers' mind and outsell their first party games on PlayStation.
Yeah.
I mean,
'cause right now,
Call of Duty already does, to be fair.
Yeah, right now they're already the biggest publisher on PlayStation, and like by a lot, because of
Yeah.
Call of Duty and Minecraft, and even Sea of Thieves for some reason is doing like insanely well over there.
Yeah, they like the 7 Cs.
So it's like, genuinely, I think that the reason that they are doing it so aggressively with PlayStation is so that PlayStation can see, like, look how much money we're making off of your back. Wouldn't it be great if you would make some money off of our back and you put some games on ours? I think that's more the thing. It's like they're trying to prove to them, like, this works. We're making a shitload of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's an interesting situation where, like, this show, because it is a 7. Like, as a showcase, it's a 7. It's fine. It's whatever. But it feels worse because, it feels worse because if this was coming out in a year where it was like, oh, we have 2 or 3 big PlayStation games coming out this year that we can be excited for, then having a showcase that doesn't really show anything for PlayStation is fine, because you're like, oh, well, they're just showing off some other games that are coming to the platform. But what this feels like is like, this is all that's coming to the platform, and that's not enough.
Yeah, and I think that's why so many PlayStation gamers had such an adverse reaction to it. I feel like we tend to be more fair on the Xbox side of things when it comes to PlayStation shows, where we're like, oh, that was pretty good. It wasn't that bad. And then you hear PlayStation guys, and they're like, F you, Sony. I've literally seen that. Like, literally, F you, Sony. I'm going to get an Xbox now, or stuff like this. Like,
Yeah.
You know, and some people were reacting. So I don't know. I don't get it. For me, I came to I came nearly to where you were at. I think they showed enough games where, if you're looking at it squarely as a PlayStation gamer, I can see why you would be upset if you're not seeing enough first party. As far as just games, though, that'll be coming, I'm excited as an Xbox or PC gamer, largely PC for me, obviously, because all these games are coming there. So I got Monster Hunter Wilds I can look forward to. I'm looking forward to Shinobi Art of Vengeance, right? Sonic Racing even looked like it could be fun if we got like a community game night for all gamers to jump in. The Digimon, I don't know enough about it to be excited for it. Lost Soul Aside, that did it for me. Like a Dragon, we've already known about it, of course, but of course you got the WWE 2K25, which is doing that open world thing. It looked kind of interesting. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, open world. I don't know that I would agree with open world, but yeah, the island is like, it's like a hub.
Yeah,
right?
semi open hub, I guess is the best way to put
I
it.
thought it was really funny. It was cool seeing Paul Heyman there. I like Paul Heyman, but it was really funny when he
Ladies
was
and
like,
gentlemen,
and you can play with up to 50 people, and I was like, that's not a lot anymore. Like that's
that's
that many.
that's it. But so stuff like that. I mean, also I would be remiss to say if not, I didn't mention Borderlands 4. Like, I'm not super blown away or happy, excited or whatever for Borderlands 4, but it does look like it's going to be a fun game. It doesn't seem to have a ton of character compared to like part 1 and 2, as far as the character work goes. But I will say it just looks like it's pure fun, first person shooter action, right? So I'm interested in that as well. It's not anywhere near my top 10 of upcoming games, but it is something that I probably will eventually get. You got Split Fiction. We keep seeing more and more of that. This wasn't the first time it was shown, so I'm not crediting this show for that. But super excited for that. Directive 8020, like you pointed out. I'm excited for that.
The Split Fiction, this one actually kind of like de-hyped me for it.
Yeah.
A little bit. Because there were a couple of lines in it where I was like, that's rough. Where the person was like, I wrote this because of my dad or whatever. And they're just like saying the subtext instead of like letting you experience it. You know what I mean? Like it felt very like like what was that, episode 9 Star Wars. It felt like they fly now. Like that's what it felt like. That level of writing. I was like, I don't know, man.
Right. No, I guess I can see that. I know some people were taken away by that Dreams of Another game too, which looks like it could have been made in Dreams by Pixel Junk. I have no interest in it, but some people took interest in the guy walking around in pajamas and pulling out an AK. I don't know.
I mean, hey,
but
it had to be for somebody, right?
it has to be for somebody. Gaming is not for everybody, but it is for somebody. And then you had, of course, Hell Is Us, which we've seen enough of, and that's coming later this year in September. I think September 4th. Super excited for that. Getting that on PC. Game looks gorgeous. The thing is, it showed a lot of great games we had already seen though. So I can't be like, well, we first time seeing this. A lot of the stuff we've seen. Excited for them nonetheless, but I'm not going to credit them for something we've already seen several times. So for me, I just say pacing wise, just constant stream of games, games looking more polished, a few surprises,
I think that's another important point here is like 40 minutes is a long time to have this few exciting announcements.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. And again, I can get it from some people's perspective. Me, I saw more than enough that I'm excited for, but I'm just not going to credit them for this because I was already excited for these games from seeing them already. So that's why I wouldn't credit them a point for that. But as far as just a show and seeing good games, I was more lenient. I give them a 7.5. Mind's Eye, we had never seen. What else? Tides of Annihilation. It was already posted apparently. Shout out to Kay for pointing that out, but we had never seen it. Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff leaked like right before.
Yeah, I heard
the Metal Gear release date had leaked. The Digimon game had leaked, and that was like one of the only things that I was.
Hell Is Us. Hell Is Us. That release date or it was leaked before the show. So a lot of those were really. And Metal Gear, by the way, is looking good. So I'm excited for that too.
It is.
So yeah. So for me, I came to a 7.5 out of 10 overall. So we're close to this 0.5 difference.
I do think it's funny though that like the number one thing, because we're Xbox guys, or at least perceived to be exclusively Xbox guys, even though you're more PC at this point, and I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
But the people who give us guff online are always like, well, there's no reason to buy an Xbox because there's no games that are exclusive to it. There's like every single one of those games I can play on my Xbox. Every single one except Sorrows, and I don't care about Sorrows.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Like even the one that I didn't like pick up on whether or not I care, like Tides of Annihilation. I was like, you were talking about it, and I googled like, is it on Xbox? I said, yep. I was like, cool. Then I'll do with that.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it'll probably be a full price game. I'll pay $30 or whatever and get it in 2 years or whenever it comes out.
Right. Let me read a few of the things in chat. Pyro says he strongly believes that Xbox's Gaming Everywhere initiative is solely to counter the CMA FTC arguments if they plan to or want to acquire large studios or another publisher. I'm sure that plays into it, Pyro, for sure.
I think that's definitely part of it because it's also, I mean, I don't remember if we talked about this on podcast or if we talked about it after, but like Microsoft is one of the few big companies that didn't have a person at the White House during the inauguration.
Yeah.
But as a big company, they are still going to benefit from
most
this
definitely
particular like completely unhinged
administration. Yeah.
Because,
the new
like,
guy is anti-woke guy. It's weird.
Yeah, like if the Democrats were in office and they were like, we want to buy Valve, they'd probably be like,
hell no.
Okay, well, we're gonna look into that. I don't know they'd say no, but they definitely investigated a lot. But in this current administration, Microsoft would be like, we're gonna buy Greenland, and they'd be like, yeah, go for it.
I think flat out, I think Lena Khan would have flat out tried to stop any deal with them getting Valve. She would have tried
to, but like we've seen how successful they are.
True, yeah. But they would have. She'd have had a better case with Valve, I think, because that would give them pretty much monopoly. Because Valve itself is a monopoly, whether people want to admit it or not. On PC itself, being honest, most people play on it. So, but I think I'll probably go on a limb and say I think Microsoft just might acquire Valve. There's been talks about that for a long time. This would be the administration to get it done with. Let's just be real.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So
I wish that wasn't the silver lining for me, but I'm actually like, would be cool. I would be interested in seeing that happen.
yeah, same.
Um,
And
but
what,
yeah, it's
but
like
and what do we have to sacrifice?
oh, I
Everything.
guarantee. Oh my god. But no, I guarantee in the next 4 years they're going to make a big acquisition because of they can basically just because they can get away with it now, right?
Yeah.
Like, will it be Valve? I don't know. That seems pretty likely, but it could also be like Sega or something. Like, I genuinely think that they're looking at the numbers that Activision is bringing in for them right now, and they're like, hell yeah, dude. Like, they're not upset about that at all, especially with this multi-platform strategy where it's like we don't even have to like they can just look at the numbers that the games are already making, and they don't even have to do the math of like, but how much less would it make if we don't put it on PlayStation? Because they're just going to put it on PlayStation anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
They could literally just go, you make money, now you make money for us.
Right. Your property is my property. Exactly.
You made this, I made this.
You mean we, like we French.
Yeah.
We.
Which actually, I mean, Valve would be a good choice for that because they don't. That would probably be more of a horizontal merger instead of a vertical or whatever, whichever one it is, where it's like you're buying something that's like technically different because it's more a storefront than it is a publisher, right? They make like one game a decade. So.
That's true. I mean, we haven't seen Half-Life 3 at any time.
Yeah.
So it probably never will happen. So yeah.
Yeah, and they are, to Soiltech's point, like they are privately held, so it would be exclusively up to Gabe Newell.
True.
Whether or not the sale went through, which would actually probably also become an issue if it was still the Democrats in office, because like if it's a privately held company and they want to sell it, then like they're gonna sell it, Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see.
It's a lot less complicated in that way, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows what the future holds?
Stay tuned here to see whatever crazy stuff happens.
If America is still here, you will find us here. No,
Yeah.
let me stop. Listen, folks, we got to get out of here. I got things to do. I have to get to work soon. And we were going to, I'll briefly bring it up. The Captain America has not been doing well as far as the reviews. Last I looked, it was in the 40s. It's Rotten Tomatoes aggregate.
Let me pull it up now and see what it's at.
Yeah.
I don't imagine it'll be doing much better.
It's unfortunate because I had high hopes for this. I'm still going to go see it though. To see.
I didn't have high hopes. It's one of those things where I think the original version was probably pretty good, but then they rewrote it like twice after they finished shooting it. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's not going to come together, is it?
So I'm on the Rotten Tomatoes website here. I'm looking at it. I got it on the screen.
Hey, it's up to a 52.
Oh, it went up.
So, hey, man.
Yeah.
That's almost okay.
Yeah. Hey. I mean, it's better than 50%. It's a bit better than half, right?
Yeah.
If only by 2%.
That means slightly more than half of the people like it, which means one of us will like it, maybe.
All right. I heard that, well, I don't want to give too much away, so I'm not going to say that. I just heard the CGI wasn't that great, which
that probably makes sense.
You know what's sad, because Marvel or Disney used to be really, really great with them. I guess they stopped wanting to put so much money towards it, because after you had Thanos, that was really the end of high-end special effects. Thanos was one of the most realistic looking characters you'll ever see.
Really good.
And you don't see that anymore now. Now everything looks suspect, and it has that uncanny valley thing going with their CGI work. So they need to step back up, in my opinion. It was one review I saw from this guy who was with Ebert, RogerEbert.com. I don't know if I can find it. He said something along the lines of, if I could put it in the nicest of terms, he said that Anthony Mackie was more or less tap dancing in this movie as kind of like a minstrel and going along to get along, essentially, the way he wrote it. Like he was, I have to look up his exact wording, but the way he worded it was that like he was playing the good black boy, essentially. That's what it read like to me. And I was like, whoa, like that's a crazy thing to say. But this guy is with Roger Ebert's, site. So I imagine he must have some credibility. I just thought I thought it was crazy to read from what I saw. I have to find
that's like a really unfortunate visual picture to be painting about this movie.
Yeah. They was just saying like he just went along to get along and didn't really give any real pushback, and Yeah, I wish I could pull it up right now, but it'll take time to find it. And I don't want to delay us too much. So, yeah. I'll say this for the chat. If for all those who are listening, we plan on doing an Avowed roundtable discussion, which will be myself, Danny, so far, tentatively at least, Lucius Augustus, Slow Mo Backslap, and possibly One Bad Mother. It could be more added, could be less, but we'll have that core of us four. I didn't mean to rhyme that, but you know, evermore. So we'll be covering the games, covering Avowed rather, in about 2 weeks. So you all have some time to get in it, play the game fully, get all the spoilers out of the way, and join us here. I hope you all would join us here for the roundtable discussion. I want to get you guys' views and thoughts as well as we share our thoughts of our playtime. And so about 2 weeks, if not 3, depending on how people's schedules are working out. And we'll try to go live. If we don't go live on a Thursday, we'll try to pick a different day that works for everybody schedule-wide. Excuse me. And yeah. So anyway, Danny, good show. Tell the good folks where they can find you and what you'll be up to.
You can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and YouTube at Daniel McGee, or you can follow my podcast, Ready Set Replay, on Spotify or YouTube, or on Twitter at RSR_POD.
Nice.
That's all.
Very nice.
I'm trying to find more succinct ways to say it because it's a lot now.
Yeah. And as far as the chat, all love to you guys. Thank you all for being here, holding us down. Thanks for giving us the energy and hell, feedback and knowledge to some of the things we may not have had. Appreciate you guys. If you haven't done so, hit the like button for us. And especially if you haven't done so, subscribe or consider subscribing if you're new and you're hearing us and you're like, I don't know, they're bots. But we're not really, though. I'm more of a PC master racer now. But anyway, and Danny doesn't really favor anybody. You just
I just play.
Yeah,
it's weird because I started my video game life on PC and then I was PS2 forever and now I'm Xbox. So at the moment I guess I'm Xbox, but I've been everywhere. I've swum with them all.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. But yeah, thank you all in the chat again. Hit the like button for us as we get out of here. For myself, Infinite Umbra, you can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever social sites that you might have me in there. Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite, you'll find me either way. Tuesdays on the Boom's Xbox Factor at 12 o'clock Eastern. Back here again with me and Danny on Thursdays, typically 8 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern to be exact. And Fridays, the Infinite Podcast with myself, Risk It for the Biscuit, Dante Moody, a.k.a. Spriggan, and That Blue Number. And typically when he can get free, Garuda Intruder. So yeah, you guys come by and show us love tomorrow on the podcast. I think we'll be going live tomorrow on Infinite as well. So hope to see you guys there as well for that. So should be a good discussion. But yeah, thank you all again. We're going to get out of here. You all have a great weekend and great night. Play some games. Definitely play Avowed. I want to hear you guys' feedback. Feel free to tag me on Twitter and say what you're thinking, be it good or bad. I want to know. And yeah, we'll talk with you guys later. Later, guys.
See ya.